All right, cyclocross fans, hello and welcome. Here we are, the 2014 Cliff Bar Cross Vegas here on September 10th, 2014. This is Behind the Barriers, and I am your host, as always, Colt McElwain, joined here in lovely Las Vegas by the very lovely Nicole Duke and the also quite lovely this evening, Dave Toll. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, Colt, it's so good to get the season started, isn't it? Like, I have to say, being here in Vegas, I never thought I'd like Vegas so much as I do now. And when you look at what's happening here, the ambiance, this incredible crowd. Nicole was telling me it's 90 degrees right now. It's kind of hard to believe this is cross season, but here it is. And welcome, Nicole.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and actually pretty excited to be sitting in this chair, actually, versus riding my bike out there. So this is great for me, and I'm really excited for the kickoff of the season and excited to race and cheer on my peers.
All right, guys, so we have your elite women's race coming right up. If you see people out on course right now, these are some pre-riders. We just wrapped up with the wheelers and dealers race. We had the open race of the course, nice and broken in, but just briefly talking about the course, we'll dive into all the features and stuff in just a moment here. But Dave, you were telling me off camera there, they got quite a bit of rain here earlier in the week.
Yeah, really heavy. I mean, it was flooding parking garages. Where we are, if you've never been to Cross Vegas, this is a basin here. It's actually a flood water relief area, and well, that's a good shot to show you. So they drain water into here, and it really is. You can see some mud sectors have formed out there. It's been pretty interesting the last couple days, although even though it's been a dry day today, those impacts, the impact that the rain has had will be definitely noticed by our racers.
Yeah, it's definitely, it looks squishy out there. You can see all the tire marks from the trucks that have driven in and out, and you know, that's what happens with the racers' tires. It just, they sink in, and it's like Velcro, and it's relentless, and there's no rest. You know,
I think, Colt, didn't we say a couple of years ago that this was like riding on 3 layers of wet carpet?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I was just thinking of that. The riders described. I mean, the grass here, it's a soccer complex, so it's very deep. It definitely doesn't get mowed or anything for this race. So add the slightest bit of moisture out here, and yeah, it's going to be extremely soggy. So for those of you lucky enough to already be joining us right now, of course, we're just about to get started, but take this opportunity. We'll probably say this a number of times here in the opening, but go ahead. I know you guys are all on your computers anyway, but get on Facebook, get on Twitter, and share this link. They can watch us right here, behindthebarriers.tv/CrossVegas. We want to get as many eyeballs on this thing as possible, Dave. I mean, just from our standpoint, from the racer standpoint, the more people that watch this, the more successful it is, the more we're going to be able to do stuff like this in the future.
Yeah, I would say, Colt, that in the last, I believe this event was started in 2006?
Yeah, 8th annual, I believe.
Yeah, okay, so 8th annual. And there's been nothing even close to a wet year here before. And I think that's going to add a lot of ambiance. I really do. And when we take a look at some riders right here that are actually out there in that wheelers and dealers race.
Yeah, a couple of the pro men practicing right there. I think that's Jeff Kabush and Brady Capias. They're probably discussing how soft it is and how hard it is today. At least it's not too hot. 90 degrees, I know it sounds bad, but in past years it's been a lot worse. So.
Brady Capias is a great story. He and his father have started a bike componentry company in Boulder. Brady actually repairs carbon frames. He's been racing with Cliff Bar since he was 12, I believe. Nicole, you probably saw him out there when he was a young kid.
Yeah, I've seen him around Boulder racing, you know, for a long time, he and his dad. So yeah, it's great.
Well, it's quite a night here in Las Vegas, no doubt. The Interbike trade show has been going on now. Outer Bike was going on for the last couple days, and today the show started. And, you know, I tell you, there's so many people that join us, and it wouldn't happen without Stage's makers of fine power meters. They are amazing. They really are.
They're out of the Boulder area.
They are, and what they're doing is, well, I'm going to guess, Colt, that we're going to see those. It's a crank-based power meter. It's integrated into your crank arm.
Yeah, right there on the non-drive side. Super lightweight. That's what Team Sky was using all year on the road side of things. Awesome product, and a huge supporter of not only cyclocross, but us here at Behind the Barriers TV, being able to bring this coverage live for you and all the other work we do all season long. obviously SRAM, Dave, and Nicole, you can speak to this one, but the makers of the industry-leading bicycle components, we're going to see SRAM components, especially their new CX1 group on, honestly, just about all the top men and women out there, it seems like.
Yeah, it's the way to go. It's the new way, you know, single chain ring, and it's just like the XX1 on the mountain bike, and so there's no sound that you don't have to deal with much, and it's pretty simple and straightforward, and it makes racing a lot easier for me. So yeah, I'm excited about their new Hydro Rs. Those have been great, and it's great to have those back also.
When you look at SRAM, well, we're going to talk about Eco products right now because Colt, they are amazing, aren't they?
Eco products, guys. This is the nation's leading brand of single-use food service products from renewable and recyclable resources. So tonight, some pretty exciting stuff. They're going to launch their new Tweet for the Planet social media campaign. So tweet it, share it, and you guys get a chance to win some pretty cool stuff. So by helping to spread the word, you get a chance to win prizes from Rafa, IceDot, WD-40, Scratch Labs, Park Tools, and Zilchables. So you guys can tweet. Just use the hashtag #TweetForThePlanet. That's for the numeral 4. So hashtag #TweetForThePlanet. We'll use that bunch throughout the night, but pretty cool opportunity here to win some cool stuff and support a pretty awesome company.
Actually, Jeremy Powers went by and visited them at their headquarters in Boulder, Colorado as well. It's amazing, like Stages is from Boulder, Eco products are from Boulder, but what they're doing is so impressive in that all of these stadiums and events that you go to where all these plastic cups are in the past being thrown away, they're really changing the game as far as that goes. That was a great Behind the Barriers episode.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, and look, I mean, it's just led to the excitement from them being involved with the sport now to sponsoring a huge event like this, like Cross Vegas. So great to see those non-endemic, those non-cycling sponsors really get on board with cycling and cyclocross specifically and realize it's a great way to reach a great group of people.
So, Nicole, I wanted to talk about SRAM a little bit and their support for women's racing. Is there any company in the world that has done more to drive women's racing forward than SRAM?
You know, I don't know, but personally, obviously, I'm biased, and they've helped me throughout my 20-year career, and I can honestly say that if I didn't have them in their support, that my career wouldn't have been as successful. So, personally, for me as a woman, they've done a lot for me. So I'm sure they've done a lot for a lot of other women, and it's nice. They
really have. That was Rebecca Rush, actually, that we were looking at there a moment ago, who just finished up her Rebecca's Private Idaho ride. There she is.
Oh, that is her. Yeah.
What a fantastic role model she is for cycling.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, multi-time Leadville Trail 100 winner, and there she is out with Cliff Bar. And she's another athlete that has benefited greatly from SRAM's support. She does her Gold Rush tour.
Yep, they highly support that ride, or the ride that she does out there also. What is that one called where she does the Century on the gravel?
It's Rebecca's Private Idaho.
That's right, yeah.
And yeah, it's up there in the Ketchum, Sun Valley area that's become a really, really popular event.
I want to try to do that ride at some point.
We'd love to have you, actually.
That'd be great.
I mean, Dave, that's one of the coolest parts about Cross Vegas is it's not just, you know, we throw numbers around sometimes. It's around 10, 15,000 spectators, but it's not just 15,000 spectators. It's the most, like, influential, most important 15,000 people in the bike industry. Everybody's here for Interbike, obviously, which takes place here this week down at the convention center. So you have, you know, product managers, marketing managers, pro road riders from other disciplines. It's pretty cool.
One of the things I love, Nicole, is there's so many guys, like, let's say you work in a bike shop in North Dakota. There's no UCI bike race there. And we're going to be actually looking at the course right now, as you can see the crowd filling in right now.
Yeah, so we got your elite women's race coming up. 58 competitors there. We're out here at the Desert Breeze Soccer Complex. So this is just right off the strip. You guys will actually be able to see that in the background. Your women's race is going to be coming up. 40 minutes on tap for your elite women. And we have a very, very strong field. So like we said, too, we have some mountain bikers, some road racers here that are just dabbling in a little bit of cyclocross here under the lights. And this course is going to be very cool. We're going to challenge them all. I think we're going to have a course preview here coming up.
I'd like to mention that there are only 2 less women than men in the starting lineup. So that's pretty cool for women's cycling.
Here we go, guys. This is the Hyperlapse. This is brought to you by Trek CX Collective. We had a rider go out there and check it out. So here, just getting a little start for things here. So this is the start loop. You can see right there, they're going to come across the start line. They make their way down this long, grassy opening stretch. So riders, they will do a start loop, and then they'll head out here, stay right their second time through, and drop down into the bowl. So stay with us here. We're going to go down, and we are going to hit one of the coolest features, not just in this race, but in any cross race there, and that was the, I don't know, it's the Raleigh ramp. It's a half of a velodrome just stuck there in the middle of a field. We have a set of barriers there. We have a set of stairs, but really the defining feature on this course is the grass, like we talked about earlier. It's very thick, very dense. It's Velcro-y. Dave described it as, you know, a series of wet carpets stacked on top of each other. And then within that, Brooke Watts, the race director here, really does just about more than anybody in making use with what he has. I mean, you see here, and we're going fast, but you can't really go 10 seconds on this course without a different feature. There's 2 flyovers, there's 3 sets of stairs, barriers, you have a sand pit you hit in both directions. It's very, very exciting stuff. And then Nicole, deceivingly, it's actually a pretty hard course with the climbs out there as well.
Yeah, it is. Some of those climbs are really steep, and there's one on the backside. There's one on the backside that is just extremely hard because you're worn out by the time you get back there. And so, yeah, the climbs make a difference, that's for sure.
So seeing here, and this year too, they also changed the finishing line a bit. So you see here, this is they're coming through. This is going to be about 300 meters to go, and you see this camera twisting and turning and twisting and turning. It's going to be very important to get into position there with 200-300 meters to go coming into that finishing stretch, because it is very hard to come out of that last corner and make up any ground. So here it is, guys. This is the course, all twisty and turny as you'd expect for a cross race, and you can see all these different features labeled out there: the Raleigh ramp, the SRAM flyover, the Shimano flyover, the Ridley stairs, the TRP brake zone. It is absolutely loaded. It is action-packed. Like we said, every bit of this course, no matter where we're looking, is going to be excitement to be had.
I think Shakespeare said, tempest in a teapot. Right? That's what you're looking at. It is. You're exactly right in that Brooke has worked really hard to create a course that challenges the riders. That was probably the biggest issue that they had with Cross Vegas when this event started, was that how do you make a challenging course in a soccer park? Well, like that. It really is.
It looks like this year they've added some more tight turns to kind of slow the race down. I know that in the past that's been kind of like a talked about thing, that we want to slow this race down and make it more like a cross course that you would find on the rest of the circuit. And so I see that he's added a lot more tighter turns to give that change of speed. It looks a lot better to me actually this year than in the past.
All right, guys, and of course the course is awesome, but what really makes this race is the field. The top riders from around the world now. We can legitimately say that with riders like Sven Nys here. We had a chance yesterday to catch up with some of the top men and women. These are those pre-race interviews now. Here with Elle Anderson ahead of Cross Vegas, the ladies race. Tell me about this year. A lot of excitement, new team, new plan, just a lot of new stuff for you.
Yeah, I'll be living in Belgium for 5 months, and I'll be riding for a team called Calais and an OF.
Which is what?
It's a new cycling team in Belgium, and yeah, I actually don't know that much about it, but I'll see when I get over there.
Awesome. So, I mean, coming off last year, we just, off camera, you were 8th here last year at Cross Vegas, which really set you up for a huge string of races in Gloucester and Providence and Madison and big UCI wins. Tell me about coming back to this race now, arguably the biggest race on North American soil aside from nationals. Do you come in this year with a little different mindset, trying to go after that podium?
You know, I do have a different mindset this year. I think the challenge is that I've kind of committed to my race season ending on February 28th, which is a lot later than I've ever raced cyclocross. So I'm actually coming into Cross Vegas a little less prepared than I ever have. And that's challenging because it's such an awesome race. But given the big picture, I guess I'll have to be okay with it.
All right, we're here with the legend. There's really no other way to introduce him. Sven Nys, former world champion, winner here last year, your first attempt at Cross Vegas, back in the U.S. Tell me about making the journey back here.
Well, I try to win, of course, tomorrow again. But it's not so easy. There are a lot of guys who want to win the race. Definitely Lars van der Haar. A few American guys, Jeremy Powers, a few other Belgium guys. It's going to be hard. I saw the track, and it's going to be a really tough one.
Tell me about coming back to the States this year, racing for Trek. It's got to mean a little more to be on an American bicycle.
Yeah, I'm really proud that I can do something for Trek. The promotion of the sport, the promotion of the bike. And winning is the best promotion that we can do, can have for Trek and also for me. So I'm really excited that it was a really good year. And hope I can do another more nice year and win a lot of races.
The course here in Las Vegas, it's very different than anything we have in the U.S. I assume it's very different than anything you have over in Europe. What do you think about the track?
Well, it's getting more and more European. I saw the track, and it's getting more and more technical. But the difficulty is the heat. That is something we don't used to. But there are a lot of technical skills you need to have for that race, and it's getting more European, and I hope the fans like it. There is a nice new sand pit, the barriers, yeah, there's some stairs we need to run, and a lot of technical skills you need to have to win this race, and that makes it interesting.
Meredith Miller here ahead of Cross Vegas. Meredith coming in with some exciting news, a new team for you this year, Noosa Pro Cyclocross. Tell me about how that all came about.
Well, it's kind of strange, you know, back in like mid-June or something like that, Alan and I just randomly happened to be on the shuttle bus going up to Nederland, you know, above Boulder one day to go mountain biking. Just ran into each other and started talking about what we were going to be doing for the cross season, and neither one of us had like a firm, you know, team in place or anything like that, and we just said, you know what, we should just start our own team, and really quickly pieces started falling into place, and we realized that, wow, we're committed to this. This is actually happening, and you know, Noosa came on board really quickly. Focus came on board with this fast, you know, SRAM, Envy. Like, it was pretty crazy how much support we got really fast from the industry, and also from Noosa, you know, coming in from outside the industry as well. So it's been a lot of work, but it's a real pleasure to be here, and you know, really proud to be here in front of all of our sponsors.
Every year, Cross Vegas, start of the cross season, there's always rumors around this may be her last season. We don't know how much longer she's going to go at a high level. Well, what's your mindset coming in this year? Obviously, there's so much excitement with the new team. What's your outlook?
Yeah, I'm just not even going to make a projection right now so that people don't say, hey, we thought you retired. I'm just going to take it 1 year at a time. We'll go through this cross season. I knew last year I was definitely not going to be racing a full season of road racing this year. Yeah. Had hoped, you know, that I would be coming back to cross, just didn't know what it was going to look like. And so I'm very fortunate that to have this team to be able to come back again at the elite level. And so, you know, whether I come back next year as a rider or as a manager for the team, we'll see. But we'll get through this season first.
Here with Tim Johnson, Cannondale, prepared by Cyclocross World the day before Cross Vegas. Tim, you've had a very busy last couple of weeks, last couple of months. Tell me what you've been up to.
Well, it definitely hasn't been the typical pre-season approach that I've had in the past, but I've been busy. I've been doing some commentary around road racing. I did Tour of Alberta last week and the Tour of Utah before that. You know, I've done some work with my sponsors, Cannondale, New Balance, Red Bull. Really just a busy summer, but I've been trying to get my training in and trying to get prepared for the season, but I think it's going to be a really big shock racing Cross Vegas here.
Yeah, I mean, you specifically, more than maybe any other guy, especially in cyclocross, have so many other commitments during the summer with different sponsors. Where do you find the time to actually get those training camps in? And do you come into a race like this, first race of the season, with much expectation, or is it more easier way into the season?
Well, I do feel like this year I'm going to have to readjust my expectations based on how it's been. I was sick this season. You know, all the usual pitfalls that might happen to someone who's training full-time. I've had those, but I've also had the other parts where you have jobs and you have things you're involved in, and you are busy. So I do have to readjust how I'm looking into Cross Vegas and look at the rest of the month with the races in Madison. We've got Boulder Cup right after this, and Gloucester and Providence.
As a fan of the sport, and I'm sure as a racer too, it's like, you know, National is obviously the most prestigious race we have in North America, but after that, it's probably Cross Vegas in terms of it's got the deepest field. It's so important. There's so many eyeballs on this race. How do you balance that with it being the first race of the season? It's kind of a rust buster in one sense, but on the other hand, it is so important. There's going to be so many people watching tonight. How do you work that?
Well, the last few years I've been able to race in Vermont just before Cross Vegas, and that was usually the weekend where it would blow out what you've been preparing for. I haven't had that. I've really been training in the morning and then broadcasting in the afternoon at Tour of Alberta. So I think I'm just going to have to try and do the best that I can. And Cross Vegas is such a special race that I do enjoy the atmosphere no matter what. It's one of the most painful races we have all year. So I just have to be prepared to hurt a lot, I think.
Here at Cross Vegas with Brooke Watts, the man behind this race, the event director. Brooke, just tell me real quick about the evolution of this race over the years. This started as just a crazy idea in the desert, and now it's just about the biggest thing we have here on North American soil.
Well, you know, it started out as a way to provide some entertainment. I mean, I would come to Interbike every year. There was nothing bike-related going on. I don't go to strip clubs. I don't drink. I don't gamble. I wanted something bike related, and so it was like a double dare. Well, why don't we put on a cross race? And from there it evolved to the biggest thing outside of Europe. I mean, who would have guessed? It's been 8 years, and seems like 8 long years, but at the same time 8 short years. I just talked to Tim a few minutes ago. I said, "Can you believe it's been 8 years?" He said, "Really? 8 years?" Sure enough.
Tell me also, I mean, this obviously Interbike was probably the main catalyst, or was the main catalyst to coming to this location. And a lot of people early on argued that you didn't have a lot to work with here in terms of a course. But I think no one does more with what they have than you do. I mean, you have so many stairs and flyovers and the velodrome thing. And tell me about the creation of that. And is that all your master plan?
Well, I think in a different life I was, I don't know, Barnum and Bailey and circus master. And I steal ideas from the best. I was like this is a Raleigh ramp, which is our half velodrome. I saw some Red Bull thing somewhere. I said, wow, look at that little ramp. Wouldn't that be cool, And I had the idea of this super short thing like they had one year at Interbike, short, I don't know, 20, 30 feet. And my carpenter said, no, man, we got to blow it out. We got to do it this, got to do it that. So I just think about what would be exciting, and then I bring it to life. And I also feel like I've got a little more liberty. I mean, it's September. It's not the heart of the season. It's not 2 weeks away from the Worlds when we need to be racing in world-like conditions. We're in Vegas, after all. Put on a spectacle. Do something crazy, Let's get some moats with some alligators and flaming hoops. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I've got a little more leeway than a lot of people do. Because I can stand back at the end of the day and say, hey, I'm putting on a show. We're here for entertainment. It's early season. The guys know that. They're here to put on a show, and so I can get away with it.
All right, cyclocross fans, welcome back to the booth here behind the barriers TV here at Cross Vegas 2014. We've got your women's race on tap coming up in just a little bit. But before we get started with 2014, let's look back, a quick recap of last year's race.
It's great to be here in Schweinfurt and ride with people who ride all the time. They ride all sorts of bikes, they ride everybody else's products, so they've got many opinions and unique perspective on what we're doing. Rival 22 is a new group set from SRAM focused on the sportif rider, applicable to road racers, cyclocross racers, gravel riders, Gran Fondo riders. Rival 22 includes double tap technology, intuitive shifting with a single shift lever, zero loss technology, immediate engagement of your rear derailleur as you touch the shifter, Y-Fly, a wider range of gearing for climbing and descending, a faster shift than any triple, and a lighter drivetrain. And perhaps the most exciting thing is a yaw front derailleur that brings perfect shifting to the Rival group set. No trim, no rub, no rasp, 22 usable gears. Braking options for Rival 22 include SRAM's all-new hydraulic road disc brakes, hydraulic rim, cable-actuated rim, and cable-actuated disc. Hydraulic braking means better power and better modulation with less hand effort. You're able to brake later and exit faster. Hydraulic disc brakes for the road are simply a better brake.
This was the first experience of the new hydraulic brakes. First impressions were really positive with the aesthetics, but then getting out on it for the first time, far superior braking system to rim brake.
Testing is a part of the product development process right from the beginning on. That means we start testing with the very first prototypes, and during the course of a project, I would say there are easily 100 different test procedures to run through. The main goal for us here in testing is really that when riders get on their bikes, they don't have to worry about their components. They can ride it in any extreme conditions, no matter it's mud, temperature, or anything else. They know that we've spent hundreds of hours here in the testing, in the lab and in the field, to make sure that the components are working flawless.
Je pense que c'est bien de tester sur banc avant de tester sur la route et de revenir sur le banc pour tester la durabilité des produits et pour qu'au final les utilisateurs puissent avoir des accessoires sans souci.
In setting out to build the CX-1 drivetrain, we had very clear goals. We knew exactly what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to make cyclocross bikes better. We knew right away that one-bike technology, which came from our mountain bike XX1 drivetrain, was the perfect technology to use for a cyclocross bike. With Force CX1, one of the things you're going to notice right away is that you've taken off a chainring, a front derailleur, a front shifter, and a cable and housing. That's a lot of parts to remove from the bike. It makes the bike lighter, simpler, and easier to ride. With X-Sync chainring technology on Force CX1, you do not need a chain device or any type of thing to keep the chain on the bicycle. The chainring is designed to give you maximum power transfer, excellent mud shedding capabilities, as well as keeping the chain on the chainring where it belongs so you can continue pedaling your bike forward. Force CX1 chainrings are available in sizes from 38 to 46, and with the number of cassette options that are also available, it allows you to fine-tune the gear range for any type of course you could ever possibly come across. The Force CX1 X-Horizon rear derailleur is built specifically for one-by use. We use a Type 2 roller bearing clutch system with cage lock that makes wheel changes extremely fast and easy. It gives you the best possible shifting, the best chain management, and the best durability of any derailleur you could put on your cyclocross bike. One of the other cool side benefits of CX1 is how outrageously quiet it is. And it makes it just a real joy to ride. And at the end of the day, that means you're going to have a better race or a better ride on a CX1 drivetrain.
The future in cyclocross belongs to the disc brakes, so I expect that to work already.
It happened once before. Now, it's back for more. Bike-NATO 2, The Return. Tune in all September to witness an unstoppable onslaught of races from around the world. Oh, it was so close! Plus, Interbike 2014, the TV show. This is gonna be intense.
A gold medal right here!
Bike-NATO 2, The Return. All this month. Only on Universal Sports Network.
Dit is niet te geloven, dit is niet te geloven. Knap werk van Klaas van Tornout. Alle hens aan dek nu, want er is een demarrage. Jawel, Lars van der Haar. Pauls, die komt er langs nu. Man. Tom Meeuwsen, hij doet het hier. Daar kan ik door, waar kan ik door? Serieuze thriller hier opnieuw. En Van der Poel is daar, hè. Dit is sport van hoog niveau.
All right, guys, welcome back to the venue here. We are behind the barriers.tv And this is Cross Vegas 2014. We are getting very, very close now. Your elite women just finishing up their pre-ride laps, scoping out the course, and then they are going to make their way over to staging. We're out here at the Desert Breeze Soccer Complex in Las Vegas, just down the road from the Strip. I'd say about 5 miles. Of course, Interbike going on this week here in Las Vegas. So everyone who is everyone is here, except for you, that one person watching, who's like, well, I'm not there. No, everyone's here. If you're not here, you should be here. But if not, that's why we're bringing it to you live right here. Guys, if you're going to share the link, it is behindthebarriers.tv/CrossVegas. Make sure you get that /CrossVegas in there, and take this opportunity now before things get too exciting. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook, and let's get this thing huge. Let's get the. I think we are really within the realm here of having the highest viewed live broadcast of a cyclocross race. There's so much excitement around this race. We have the top North American talent here, and then so many riders from around the world that's going to be drawing that attention in.
I love how many people just absolutely live for this sport. Can you imagine, like, I'm going to say the metric, Colt, of the number of people watching in Belgium, an American webcast in Belgium right now, it's got to be the all-time record.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
Good morning?
Yeah.
What time is it in Belgium?
How do you say good morning?
Good morning, basically. Yeah, 8 hours. What, we're 8 hours behind or ahead?
It's 8.
8.
Yeah, so right now it's about, I'm going to say 4 o'clock, 4:09 in the morning there. So, you know what, nothing beats waking up in the morning and watching a cross race.
Yeah, they said, 14 countries were represented in 2013 here last year. So I'm not sure how many this year, maybe even more.
So, Colt, in Belgium is the home of cyclocross. Is Holland the next closest to that?
I think so. And oh, look at that. That's pretty awesome. I thought that was
wow,
not real for a second. The moon, of course, we're talking about. Yeah, I think it's Belgium and Holland. I mean, to me, they're one and the same. It's that region, really. Northern France, Belgium, Holland, of course, with Marianne Vos and Lars van der Haar from that region, and obviously the history of great Belgian riders. I think that's really the epicenter. It's the cold, it's the muddy, it's the, there's not great climbs, there's not beautiful beaches, there's really nothing else to do. It's cyclocross.
I'm old enough to remember when Switzerland was probably the epicenter of world cyclocross. It kind of shifted in the 70s into the 80s to Belgium, and it's pretty much stayed there without a doubt. But the nice thing to see is that the popularity of the sport in America in the last 10 years has just been amazing how much it's blown up.
I mean, that's the coolest thing to do. Take a look sometime at the, just at the UCI international calendar of where races are. There's a race there is every single weekend in the U.S. throughout the season. There's at least one UCI weekend. That's a Saturday and a Sunday UCI event. I mean, we have as many UCI races here as most of the rest of Europe combined, and some people argue whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but from the U.S.'s perspective, I can't see how it's anything but a positive. Within the U.S. alone, I mean, just in New England, the local series there, so many races, but that maybe 5 or 10 years, maybe closer to 10 years ago now, it was really just a New England-centric thing, but now you look across the country. We're here in Vegas, we go to Cincinnati, Iowa City, Wisconsin, we're in Oregon, we're everywhere. International cyclocross is really, or UCI sanctioned international level has really become a mainstay here in North America.
Colt, I always thought, and I'd love to hear what Nicole thinks, but Seattle and Portland always had a strong scene at the same time that New England was really coming up. I think they were maybe a little bit underrated, actually. The Dale Knapps and the Craig Undums and these guys that came out of the Northwest, they used to go toe-to-toe with the McCormick brothers. And, it was interesting to see how kind of like it was a bi-coastal thing, and now it really filled in the whole country. Colorado has an incredible scene these days. I'm sure if you looked at that Wheelers and Dealers race, probably half those guys call Colorado home.
I think, like we were saying with Belgium, they don't have the best climbs, they don't have the best beaches. In Colorado, they have such great riding. You can mountain bike year-round, you can ride great roads year-round. That it was always a great spot for cycling, but they produce so many road racers, so many mountain bikers. But as cross has become such a huge thing here in the United States, the talent was always there. It was just getting guys like Brady Capias to really make the commitment to be a cyclocross racer and get off the road a little bit.
Nicole, what do you think about that as far as Colorado, an amazing place to ride your bike, but there's really no mud, or basically no mud. We have so many people there with huge engines. You're a Colorado racer. It's got to be a little tricky coming out of that region when it gets sloppy in November and December.
All right, guys, we have your, sorry to cut you off there. We got your women's race coming up here very quickly. I think we're going to get a look at your start sheet coming up here in just a second. So, of course, that is the women's race sponsored by Laser Sports. We'll get to that in a second. Some big prize money on the line. Katie Compton, your 10-time U.S. national champion, riding for Trek. She will be the #1 rider on the start line, followed by the Brit Helen Wyman representing Kona here. Elle Anderson, the revelation of last year here in North America, riding for Cal. Actually, I believe she's actually with a new team this year, but that's Elle Anderson. Meredith Miller riding with her new team as well, Gabriella Duran. A lot of new teams for the top 5 here. Gabby Duran, also a British rider, so she's going to be keeping a close eye on Helen Wyman. Those two always keep a pretty close rivalry going head-to-head with each other. So that's your top 5. Rolling out the rest of that front row, though, we have Katarina Nash, a multi-time winner here, the queen of Cross Vegas, as she's known, coming off a very strong mountain bike season. Crystal Anthony going to be on the start line as well. She's coming off, again, a very strong cyclocross season and her first full year of racing mountain bikes. Caroline Monti will be out there. There's a French woman, Arlie Kemmerer, out of the Mid-Atlantic, and then Catherine Pendrell, your newly minted just a few days ago 2014 mountain bike world champion. So you know she's bringing some strong fitness in here. Courtney McFadden flying the flag for the Northwest. She will be here, as will Michael Dick. Looks like Susie Gardart will be here. Magali Rocher, the new signee for the Lunachick. She came in here last year with that Cannondale development squad, the cyclocross world team. She steps up to the big leagues now. And then Lisa Jacobs for Rafa Focus. That'll round out your top 2 rows. But like you said, Nicole, almost only 2 less women here than men. 58 women on the start line. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to watch this year. And, you know, there's a couple of riders out there like Elle Anderson that had such a breakout season last year. I know a lot of people are kind of curious to see what will happen here. And I know a lot of riders got to be nervous because it's the first time to show what they have. They don't know where they're going to fit in. And, you know, they don't know what their peers are going to do. So it's kind of an intense race. It's like you said, it's in front of everyone. It's in front of all of your sponsors. There's a lot of expectation here. So this is a really big race.
Elle Anderson is actually racing for Vanderkitten here as she's going to Belgium, following in the footsteps directly. And Amy Dombrowski would be so proud to know that she had the courage to do pretty much what Amy did.
She'll actually, she'll be living with the same host family that hosted Amy Dombrowski. And yeah, so she'll be going out. I think she's here for a few races in the U.S., and then she'll be spending the majority of the season overseas. So last year, my favorite stat from Elle Anderson, she had a pretty good Cross Vegas. She was, I believe, 8th here last year. And then that really kicked off a winning streak that shocked everybody, herself included. She went on to win in Madison. She went on to win in Gloucester, in Providence. But in Providence, Elle Anderson became, in my books, and I've never had anyone prove this statistic wrong, the first U.S. woman to beat Katie Compton in the last 10 years on U.S. soil or anywhere else. Katarina Nash has done it, I think, twice on U.S. soil, both times in Fort Collins. But Elle Anderson, I mean, Katie Compton, the dominance of that rider, but Elle really putting herself right there as the heir apparent.
And we would be amiss to not mention that Katie Compton has won every single national championship that she has started as an elite
10
racer.
years,
10 years in a row. There is no man or woman, I've always said this, Nicole, but to me, Katie Compton is the greatest American cross racer of all time, man or woman,
without a doubt. And,
she may be the greatest cross racer. I mean, Marianne Vos doesn't have as many years doing it, but you'd certainly put her in the discussion of just greatest of all time, period.
And when is she going to get that world championship? Every year I just really hope that we get to see her on the top step. What is it now called? 3 silvers, 2 bronzes along the way.
A number of podiums. We did an interview with her earlier today that you guys will be able to catch in a couple of weeks on Behind the Barriers, and she talked about it. She said it's not just the media that hypes that up as the big goal for her. It really is what drives her every year, year in and year out. So we're sitting here now mid-September, but her main focus is still at the end of the season, end of January, early February, and having her best fitness there. You see here she's representing her new Stars and Stripes kit, flying the flag for the USA. So yeah, 10-time elite national champion. She also, it might even be a streak of 11 straight starts because she took a few years off, but in 2001, I think it was, she won the U23 national championship. So she goes way back. A lot of people didn't really know who Katie Compton was until 2000. 2004 in Portland. But she's been racing her bike back in Delaware since she was 8 years old.
Nicole, do you remember, were you at the Providence Nationals when she started on the back row and went through the whole field? Were you racing cross at that point?
No, you know, Providence was, I raced that for the first time last year.
Okay.
So no, I wasn't there for that. But you know what I'm really curious about is every year that I've raced here, I think Katie has not been here. And she has chosen to skip this race, or she's had some kind of ailment or something. So I'm extremely curious to see the Katarina Nash Katie Compton throwdown here.
It's interesting, isn't it? And you add Pendrell into that, and Gould into that as well. Leah Davison, who was so good here last year, is not taking the start.
I think she's gotten second 2 years in a row.
Has.
So, and then what, she comes off of her newly minted
bronze medal.
Yeah, exactly. So that was really impressive after she had hip surgery this season. And so she had a big comeback season. And for her to get third at World Championships was just unbelievable.
I don't see how you could ever bet against Katie Compton racing in America. As Colt said, it's only Elle Anderson. Colt, you're right on that stat. Elle is the only American that's ever beat her here. Now, Katarina Nash is another wild card, not wild card, actually like a 3-star favorite coming into this one. But in my mind, it's Compton as a 4-star favorite, and then you look at that next group.
Like we said, yeah, Nash, in my memory, has beaten Compton twice on U.S. soil, but that's in 30, 40 meetings.
Right.
So Katie Compton, it's unbelievable how dominant she has been, not only in the U.S., but internationally, but especially in the U.S. And just speaking to what Nicole said, she hasn't been here very often. Katie Compton, simply put, hates Las Vegas. She just doesn't. Take it or leave it. It's a you know, it is what it is. And so she tends to avoid this as the start of her season. And she's usually, like we said, planning for Worlds and goals a little later in the year. But with her teammate now on Trek, Sven Ness, this has become a pretty big celebration for those two and that team here in America.
Yeah, absolutely. For Trek bikes, this is a big deal. Compton won here in 2008 and 9 and hasn't been here since. Yeah. And I think it's great for Cross Vegas that she's back. I know that the promoter, Brooke Watts, is ecstatic to have her in the field. To be honest, Cross Vegas without Katie Compton is missing something. It's missing you know.
Yeah, it's hard to call it the best women's field or the best. I mean, well, obviously we have the best men's field here with Sven Nys and the top North American riders. Guys, so if you're just tuning in, I want to fill you all in. Of course, this is BehindTheBarriers.tv/Cross Vegas. We're the crew here at Cross Vegas. I am your host, Colt McElwain. Joined in the booth, that's Nicole Duke and Dave Tolu here. If you guys want to tweet at us during the show, you can reach us. Our Twitter handles, I am at Colt McElwain. Nicole is at Nicole Duke now. Correct. And Dave, there it is right there up on the screen for you, at David Tolu. So if you guys want to send in any questions, anybody in particular you're looking for, if you want to tell me how silly my mustache looks, all those things are available. What I would really like to see right now is some predictions from you guys. I mean, we're talking about Katie Compton, Katarina Nash, Catherine Pendrell, but there's, another 55 of the highest caliber women's cyclocross racers out there. Let me hear your top 5. I'll read a couple of them out over the air if you guys send them in. That's at Dopersuck, DOPERSSUCK.
You know what, when you want to box that top 5, I think Meredith Miller, Nicole, is going to be in that group. I don't see her on the podium, but I do see her in the top 5 today.
Yeah, definitely. I think the top 10 women, it's kind of like up for grabs. There's so many women right now that are, this is a really competitive field. And you throw a couple mountain bikers in here that are in great form. You know, it's anybody's game, and you never know where people are going to sit at this first race of the year.
I am really curious to see what Anderson is going to do. I'm really excited about her career. It's really nice to be at the front end of a zenith, I think, and that's what we're looking at with her. You know, obviously we're going to be talking about Amy Dombrowski tonight. They're going to have a moment of silence for Amy and Anna Fleur, but when you look at it, it takes, and you can relate, Nicole, it takes an incredible amount of courage to tear up your roots and move over to Belgium and invest 100% in cross. And that's what Elle's doing. It's really impressive.
I had a lot of discussions with her over the off season, and you know, she was talking about, you know, not sure she wants to do it, but you know, in the end she was 100%. And I just talked to her before this race, and she was extremely excited, and she was almost like, I don't even want to be here, I'm so excited to be over there. So she's fully ready, and she's very positive about it. Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are are underway. Caroline Monty there on the front row. She looked good into the pedals, but then I believe that was going to be Gabby Duran riding for the new Neon Velo squad. She's going to take that. So riders are going to come through the start-finish line here, do a quick start loop, and then they're going to have the Cliff Bar hole shot preem. So Gabby Duran, Katie Compton, not always the fastest starter, always the fastest finisher, but a lot of times we'll see Katie not in the top 5, but she comes right across the line there, second wheel. Now they're going to turn left at this split, come one quick start lap, and then they will be out on course. So Dave, we are underway.
Good for Neon Velo and Gabby Duran on the front. New team this year. She and her husband, Jeremy Duran, are, you know, really taking a risk. Well, maybe not a risk, but investing in themselves with that team. Compton just looks incredible to me right now. Katie is coming to this season very, very well prepared. And now, you know, Monty, I think if you look at it, Nicole, who starts faster? Like, she's like a BMX racer out there, isn't she?
Monty's got a great start. She really does. And it's nice to start fast because then you're kind of out of the way of any crashes and that kind of thing. So it looks like she had a great start, but she's moving back. It looks like Duran is holding that lead, and it looks like she might want to go for that hole shot award.
Katie Compton likes to surf the front, Colt, doesn't she? I mean, she's not going to attack on lap number 1. She's going to let a rhythm settle in here. I see that Katarina Nash is sitting about 7th wheel right now. Actually, that's going to be Pendrell as well coming up right now.
Wyman.
Helen Wyman there. She's going to be the rider there in the white skin suit, the British national team kit. That's Elle Anderson. She's in the Vanderkitten outfit there. I also saw Crystal Anthony there swinging wide on the outside. But look, there are about, I think it's 5 Luna chicks in this field that could all easily go top 10. We got Georgia Gould, Catherine Pendrell, Katarina Nash, Magali Roche, and Teal Stetson Lee all out there. So look for the team tactics to take place here early on while all 5 of those women are going to be out in the lead pack. But right now we have Helen Wyman, followed by her fellow British rider, Gabby Duran. Then Nash just shoots up through the pack there. She's going to grab 3rd wheel. The new kid there that you're seeing, that is Meredith Miller riding for Noosa Yogurt. I believe Courtney McFadden has found her way into the top 5, followed by the rest of the field there. But
who's coming off the bike there? I think that's Katarina Nash, who just came out of her pedals, and now she's back on. So she lost quite a bit of places. She looks like she's maybe back to 18th place, but knowing her, she'll be able to catch up quickly.
Hey, Compton is top American in the field right now as you look at 2 British riders leading. Wyman, the British champion there in the white jersey with the red and blue bands across her chest. Gabby Duran having a great start as well. This is going to be interesting to see.
Courtney McFadden sitting 2nd here.
I believe that's Carolina Gomez, actually.
Really?
Maybe not.
I think this is right here.
Bib number 34 or bib number 31?
31.
Okay, that is exceptional.
31, that is Carolina Gomez. Yes, correct.
The Vanderkitten rider, they've reinvested in cyclocross this year. Rebecca Gross, the other rider on that team. That is a huge start for her. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. I have a feeling it's not going to go so well here over the next half lap or so. And she looks like she's gone out extremely. There's the gap over there right now to
this course wears you down so quickly. It's unbelievable. And you can watch this, everyone's pedal cadence, and it's pretty slow.
Look at Compton saying,
Yep. You know, Compton starts out slow always, but then it's like lap 2, she decides to take off, and that's it. Nobody can stay with her. But it looks like Helen is in great form in the start of the season here.
Yeah, absolutely, Colt. When you look at it, Wyman now is going to be joined by Compton, in my opinion, but they're making a selection right now on the first half lap here at Cross Vegas. Wow, what a way to start this event.
This course is very deceiving. It doesn't always look like they're going so hard. I remember watching the Wheelers and Dealers race earlier this evening. It almost looks like they're pre-riding out there, but the speeds are just slower. The course is slow. The grass is long. As you said, the earth is very soggy. But if you were to take a look at the power meters right now, they're putting out some serious watts out there. So Helen Wyman on the front, Katie Compton, and they're the 2 riders I'm surprised not to see right up there in the top 5, or really even top 10 right now. Katarina Nash making her way back up, and then the newly crowned world champion Catherine Pendrell. She's going to come through there on Georgia Gould's wheel. Not Meredith Miller. Rachel Lloyd in there. She's really made a comeback as well last year. A lot of attention on Elle Anderson for that Cal Giant squad, but Rachel Lloyd, a former superstar in cyclocross. She went to Worlds back in 2009, then briefly retired. She had a child, I believe, but really made her way back to the top of the sport.
A career somewhat similar to yours, Nicole.
Exactly,
yep.
And I was going to say it's really nice to have a fellow mom out there.
Sure.
We can kind of commiserate together. And
also she's done Super D in her career.
Yep, so we also come from the same downhill background. And when I did race downhill back in the late 90s, she raced at the same time also, and we actually raced against each other. So we have really, really similar careers, and it's great to have her out there.
Look how quickly Nash recovered there. She's back on the Compton's wheel right now. One of the very few athletes in the world that's done the Winter and Summer Olympics in their career. And so Nash, now it looks like we settled into a selection here of about 8 riders, maybe 9 riders at the front. Helen Wyman is now being passed by Compton. I really think that Katie Compton, you know, she designed that Trek bike that she's racing on. How many women have had input on the actual design of the bike that they ride? I think that speaks really highly to Trek and their respect for Katie and what she's done. And that's going to be Erica Zavetta,
yeah, the Amy Dombrowski rider. That's a great start for her for the season. So hopefully we'll see great things out of her this year, because this course has so much power in it. If you can do well here, you can do well anywhere.
Zavetta went to Lees McRae and also has done every single discipline. She's the Bookwalter, Brent Bookwalter of the sport. As we take a look now at this group settling in right here, it looks to me, well, you know what's going to be interesting? As Wyman is now bogging down just a little bit, Compton doesn't want to overly attack this race right now. I think that is the winner of this bike race is on your screen right now.
Oh yeah, that's your lead 11 or 12 riders, and Katie Compton, she only likes to attack once. If ever. She's going to ride you off your wheel if she has to attack, which I think she does in a race like this with so much talent around her. I don't think she can simply go to the front and ride everyone off her wheel. Katarina Nash is going to be, as you can see, marking that very closely. I think Katie's going to give it some time here, wait for that second or third lap. But in general, when you look at the women's lap times, in the men's race, it tends to be those last 2 or 3 laps when you see the fastest lap. In the women's race, it tends to come on those first 2 or 3 laps. So a lot of these women are going to be looking over their shoulder, feeling uncomfortable with the size of this lead group. I expect somebody here to make that early move. But then again, we could see these favorites here at the front just watching each other a little too closely, maybe giving a chance for someone like Elle Anderson to sneak by there and get a little gap.
Nicole, talk about equal prize money, how important that is right now, because this event is a leader in that category.
Yeah, you know, Laser has stepped up and given equal prize money for the first 30 places. And
that's
usually,
huge.
Yeah, I think last year it was top 10. Now it's 30. That's huge for us. So it's really important, and it's a big topic right now. And a lot of promoters in the U.S. have actually stepped up for equal prize money, and we're actually leading the way for European races and influence in European races for equal prize money. So, you know, kudos to Laser for really putting in that money to support us.
I remember they were a huge supporter of Amy Dombrowski, actually. They're like SRAM. They really get it. They're one of those companies that believes in women's racing, and you know, as does SRAM. And we're looking now. So it's interesting. Just a moment ago, we saw Nicole Duke, Meredith Miller come through. Meredith is riding for a new team out of Colorado as well. Noosa Yogurt. Alan Krugoff and she have started a combine program.
Yeah.
And, good for her as well.
No, it's great. It's actually I do the owner's hair. I cut the owner's hair for Noosa, and it's great to see. It's an amazing yogurt company, and they have really supported cycling in the past 2 years. So for them to support Meredith and Alan like they are is really great, because you know there's not a lot out there.
Is this it, Colt?
It's a little bit of separation we're going to see as we come through that start-finish line. That's one of those few sections on course where you have a long straightaway where a rider can make an attack. But Katie Compton, Katarina Nash, no surprise there. Helen Wyman, maybe a little delayed to get on that wheel. She set that early tempo. Crystal Anthony is right in there as well. Caroline Money, a great start. We saw off and on riding from her last season, so good to see her back at the front of the bike race. Gabby Duran, Michael Dick is in there. I see a few of the Stands No Tubes women, and I believe that was Kelly Emmett that I just saw there riding in the Live Giant kit. So a full-time enduro racer now, but at one point in her career, a very, very talented cross-country mountain bike racer as well as cyclocross rider. She's been on the podium here, at least in the top 5 numerous times in the past. But Dave, as we make this big U-turn here onto that start-finish stretch, let's see who gets out of the saddle, who's going to attack, and who's going to be able to come around and close that gap. Because if you want your chance at the podium, if you ever want a chance to win this race, you have got to get on Compton's wheel. You got to do it now.
There's no doubt about it, and you can see that Nash is the only rider able actually to go with her right now. You know, the amazing ride to me right now, Nicole, is Caroline Gomez. Well, she is hanging in there.
Yeah, but you know, to me, it's Courtney McFadden, and she had a breakout season last year, and I see her right here. She's in the pink, and I didn't recognize her and know that she was in a new kit, but she's been sitting at about 7th place consistently here in this race, so I think she's up for a really great season.
That was Elle Anderson that came through in that light blue Vanderkitten jersey. They're sitting about 8th. That's look at Georgia coming, like amazing how
Caro,
strong
the
she
new
is.
Vanderkitten rider.
So, all right, Meredith Miller
Meredith's got on.
that train.
Yeah.
That's a huge move to make contact there. That's not just closing a gap on anybody. That's Katarina Nash and Katie Compton off the front. Meredith Miller, looking at these tweets coming in from you guys, a lot of the predictions here. I see a lot of Meredith Miller's name there in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. My biggest surprise right now, still no Catherine Pendrell. We saw her do very well. Maybe just not quite on top of the intensity that it takes to start a cross race like this, but you know she's got the fitness. I would expect if any rider's going to come across that gap, my money's on her.
You got to think a World Cup mountain bike race has a pretty similar start to a cross race at this level. It's absolutely an explosion.
There she goes making a pass right now.
Yeah, okay, so she's going to start, checking boxes right now, moving through riders. There's no doubt that she has the fitness. That's Georgia Gould that we're looking at up out of the saddle right now. But, okay, so Nash has really, really impressed me here. Having that bobble early and then getting back with Compton. Now Meredith Miller right behind Nash, and then Courtney McFadden.
Courtney McFadden, 4th. Yeah,
right,
I mean, unbelievable. She's primed for a great season. I love it, and she's really a great competitor, very humble and gracious, and so I always love to see her do really well.
That's Gabby Duran with 13 on her back. The riders actually this year have the option of selecting a permanent number for the year, and so we'll see that 13 of Duran as we look at Compton now. I mean, in my mind, I have to think that Nash is, she believes that she can beat Compton. There's probably only 3 other women in the world that think that they can beat Compton in an event like this, and Katie is one of them that doesn't think they can. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Everybody out here wants to. Katarina Nash really believes that she can, and so do I. I mean, like we said, we've seen it done before. On this course in particular, I mean, we've seen so many finishes here come down to a sprint, both in the men's and women's race. And if you put those two side by side right now with 200 meters to go, my money might be on Katarina Nash. She is one of the fastest finishers off-road that you'll see on any bicycle.
I'm with you, but if we put them at 500 meters to go, I go with Compton.
And that's where I think you got to look at that finishing straight. As look at her now coming by, passing 3 more riders. Catherine Pendrell, put it down right now. Catherine Pendrell on the podium. I just don't see it ending any other way. I think she's safe for 3rd. We'll see Meredith Miller. We've seen in the past a very strong starter. The question with Miller comes in those final 2 laps. Can she hang on? She's a very good sprinter if she can make it to the line with the group, but here she comes. Those rainbow stripes on her sleeve as a 2-time now mountain bike world champion. She is going to be deadly. She's the rider right now in the best form relative to what she can do. She's peaked. Katie Compton, she's looking at next year, January and February. Katarina Nash, she sort of bounced around all season with different goals. Pendrell right now is going to be firing on all 8 cylinders.
She was just taking some time to get warmed up.
You know, the only thing, you're right, Nicole, no doubt. The only thing I'd say is that she just flew back from Norway on Monday.
Unbelievable. You're right.
So
you're right.
When you think about that, I mean, but she's going to join this group. It's going to be 4. The 4 riders of the apocalypse right now here at Cross Vegas. So that's going to be Compton on the front, then Katarina Nash, then Meredith Miller riding out of her skin right now, and then it's clearly she's joining. Pendrell is going to join.
I wouldn't count out Meredith in all of this. You know, I've been riding with her this summer, and she's been having a lot of fun, and I think that goes a long way in a career. And sometimes when you relax a little bit more and you don't race as much, you actually do better. So Meredith is extremely strong. She's one of the most powerful riders out there.
And of course, Catherine Pendrell, I don't know if we mentioned it here on air, but you guys saw it at home. Gould and Pendrell actually got caught up at a crash there on the start of lap number 2. So that didn't take her out of the race, but it definitely took her back just a bit. But she's making her way back across now. Gould, on the other hand, sitting outside the top 10. Looks like she's maybe a little more affected by that holdup. But Pendrell, she's got to get on that wheel. There's not a ton of drafting on this course. The wind isn't blowing that hard.
Watch this right here.
Yeah, it's on the climb.
Look what she does in 100 meters. I mean, you are watching her join that group in a 200-meter stretch. She just joined. That is unbelievable talent
Compton
right
on the
there.
front, that's just deadly.
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and that climb on that backside is so unbelievably hard.
So that woman is a human wattage cottage. There's no doubt about
it. For how tiny she is, look at her.
So let's just say that she probably doesn't weigh 48 kilos. You know, I'm going to get even less than that. And now Nash is going to, they are clashing swords at the front of this bike race right now. Colt, this is going to be the best Cross Vegas we've ever seen.
Yeah, let me make something clear here as well. You might see 2 very similar looking kits in that group there, 2 lunatic riders between Catherine Pendrell and Katarina Nash. Don't expect any team tactics between those 2. This is not a road race. You see there Nash going to the front. The second Pendrell gets on, she's pushing the pace. That's just another competitor. Those 2, if it is within reason, if it's going to help them both, both, sure, they'll throw a hand the other's way, but we've seen it over and over again all mountain bike season, all cyclocross season. These riders, just no regard for human life when it comes to this race. Everyone's out there to get their own.
Psychologically, right now, is Nash getting the better of Compton, Nicole?
Is she what?
Getting the better of Compton right here?
I think she's pushing Compton for sure. It looks like Compton has to give it everything she has to keep up with her. And you know, Katarina is a great technical rider, and I watched her take a couple of those turns, and she was really pushing it in those turns. So I think she's definitely giving Katarina a run for her money.
We're going back to the Mani group right now. The former French national champion Caroline Mani there with Rachel Lloyd coming through as well. This is going to be your top 10 that we're looking at.
Magali Rochette. There's Georgia Gould, and then there's the new Amy D rider. Crystal Anthony's back there.
Yeah, Erica Zavetta.
There's Michael Dick.
And we're taking a look now at our Foundry stairs here. Another one of the critical features,
Elle Anderson
of course.
just went through.
I'm going to expect Elle to start going forward here as well. I just, when you look at Caroline Mani, she's a great starter. The forte for her is definitely the first 2 laps. We'll see, but I think that Elle's going to start moving forward here.
Yeah, we saw last year that the races that Elle did really well in, it was a similar style to Katie Compton. She got a great start, maybe not the whole shot, but took that lead on lap 1 and continued to stretch it. So the fact for me that she's not in this top 4 group right now, I don't see her coming back to make the podium. We'll see. Again, a long season ahead of her. She had to refocus her goals a bit this year, heading over to Europe later in the month. She's definitely got some bigger fish to fry come October, November, and that's the hard balance here. I mean, Cross Vegas, other than Nationals, the biggest race we have on North American soil, but it's also so early in the season for these cyclocross specialists that the fitness is really all over the map. A lot of riders, this is not only the first race, but the first sort of workout of this kind. They're just coming off big miles, base miles, but making that turn here. Who's in the front? Wow. Looks like another lunatic.
Huge gap.
Look at that
gap. Yeah. You know, and then there's Caroline Mani. You know, that's impressive for her at the start of the season. So she's going to have a great one. But that gap, I don't know. It's sat at maybe 20 seconds, 25 seconds.
There's no doubt the train left the station when you take a look at our top 4 riders here as they come through, seeing 3 to go right now. So they kind of neutralized that effort from Nash there. Compton, I think, taking a deep breath right now and realizing we're moving into, as I said, 3 laps to go. But this group of 4, right now, there's no doubt in my mind that Pendrell is going to be a big problem for these ladies. As Colt mentioned, she just won the World Championship of mountain biking on Sunday or Saturday. This weekend.
Taking a look at the lap times there, Dave. I mean, those first 4 women are flying.
So Kelly Emmett, also fantastic here today. Courtney McFadden, Gabby Duran, Amanda Nauman, also up there.
She was coming up last year, and so it's nice to see her stepping up. And she's been racing mountain bikes all summer and doing some long endurance stuff. So
we're definitely not changing the guard right now, but there is a whole new crop of riders. You mentioned Roche earlier. There's Zavetta is clearly
even Elle Anderson still in her mid-20s. So like you say, not changing the guard, but definitely a good crop of riders there waiting in the wings. Taking a look at this front group, though, I mean, this is a veterans pack in the front here. We have Katarina Nash, 1996 Olympian on the mountain bike. Katie Compton, a 10-time national champion. Meredith Miller, a former U.S. Pro Road national champion. And then, of course, Catherine Pendrell. She's been doing this for quite a long time as well. So the veterans doing very well here. And then an interesting dynamic here amongst these women. Katie Compton and Katarina Nash especially. These two are not used to racing in a group in cyclocross. Even at the World Cup level, you'll see Compton go out. She'll be solo off the front, maybe with one other rider, but the tactics here will be very interesting to watch unfold. It's not very often that these riders have to win a race with their brains rather than their legs, but it's really going to come down to a good mix of both this evening.
This is a great second pack coming in here, all these girls together, and very competitive. And I think this second group that we have here it's going to be a battle between these ladies.
It's interesting. That group is the future of cyclocross.
Yes,
definitely. You're looking at the present, the here and now of cyclocross. Meredith Miller has been a silver medalist at nationals a couple times in her career. Absolutely a legitimate contender when you're looking at that front group. Katarina Nash, Katie Compton, they're both 2 of the most established cross racers. I mean, Nash was a bronze medalist at Worlds. Miller has the nerve
Miller, I told you, do not count her out, man.
Amazing.
She is strong this year, and she's got unbelievable power. So I love it. I think that she feels like maybe it's her turn to pull also.
Everybody should get married a week before Cross Vegas, apparently.
Right? You know, yeah, she's got that power. So it's, I love it. You know, she lives in Boulder now, and it's great to see her, and we've become better friends. So it really makes me happy to see her do so well here. And the second group, like you said, this is the future right here. And Ben and I talk about women's racing and how competitive it is right now. And we feel like it's more competitive actually than the men in the U.S. right now because there's so many up-and-coming riders.
I would not disagree, Colt. I mean, when Nicole says that, this is not lip service here.
Oh, absolutely.
I honestly believe, and you know, you can call me out on Twitter if you want, I believe the women's race is the best race of the day. And I have for a long time.
Thank you,
right
Dave.
now.
Thanks.
Well, I mean, it really is. And look what we got now. It's very rare in the men's race that you have 4 together, you know, and they're going to see 2 to go here in just a moment. And as we take a look at Meredith Miller, apparently Noosa yogurt must be really good for you. Because it's really
I know it
working
tastes
for her.
good.
Yeah, no, clearly. And so that's going to be Meredith Miller on the front, then Katie Compton in the Stars and Stripes, and then we're looking at the 2 Luna riders here. One of the greatest supporters of women's racing of all time has got to be the Luna program. That's part of the Cliff Bar family. And when you look at those 2, they're kind of Luna originals, Colt. As actually we're looking over and seeing Jeff Proctor right now, and I think we're going to have a chance to bring Jeff in because I know he's got a really, really exciting announcement here.
Yeah, we're talking here about the future of the sport with these women. We see riders like Amanda Nauman, a great young rider out there. Some of the best young women in the sport not here this evening. Katie Anthony racing the World Championships on the road. Ellen Noble, a top 15 rider at the U.S. National Championships. But yeah, we're joined here by Jeff Proctor, one of the most influential members of the cyclocross community when it comes to rider development.
In my mind, and Jeff, welcome, there is nobody who does more to bring this sport forward. The only thing Jeff doesn't do is promote a C1 race in America. Other than that, this is the guy that has really helped develop riders, get young Americans over to Belgium. And I know that you got some really cool stuff to talk about, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge honor to be here. You know, great events like this with Brooke. But yeah, we're here to announce the launching of the USA Cycling National Cyclocross Development Program, and it's going to be based in Sittard in the Netherlands, which is on the Belgian border, to capture the energy of this sport. You know, it's cyclocross on fire right now, and so it's going to focus on juniors, U23, and women, and we're going to, you know, cultivate the next generation, you know, future Jeremy Powers, Katie Comptons, and hopefully, you know, make an impact at the World Cups and the World Championships.
Yeah, it's interesting. On Behind the Barriers TV, we've seen a lot of excitement over the last couple of years, and you must see more and more 12, 13, 14-year-old kids getting into the sport. I know these hot spots around the region, like the Ohio River Valley area.
Yes.
And quickly, I'll throw it to you, Cole.
Yeah, no, really just keep an eye on what's going on there. And coming to the front now, that is Catherine Pendrell, your mountain bike world champion. So these riders not watching each other anymore. They are launching attack after attack after attack. And Jeff, I know with the project that you're working on here, it's not just about developing riders, but it has a pretty special emphasis on developing the women's side of the talent, both in the junior and under 23 ranks.
Absolutely, yeah. And with the new youth category at the Pan Am Games, you know, it's just everything's, the momentum's there. I heard today that there are 104 juniors registered for an Ohio Valley first race of the season.
Wow.
You know, it's just incredible. But this is like that level, you know, to raise the level at the international biggest races in the world. And so that's super excited about it. Very honored to do it as head coach.
Jeff, what does a rider need to do if I'm watching Cross Vegas at home tonight and I'm in Vermont and I think I've got a future in this sport? How do I get in contact with you, or how do I get involved in this program?
Well, it's going to be all through USA Cycling, so usacycling.org, and there'll be a lot of press coming out about it. And basically, you know, the young riders need to come up. They need to get noticed in domestic races and start showing themselves, and then we start to see them. So there's a certain amount of talent and ID to it, too.
It's interesting. So basically, just start racing your bike as hard as you can.
Yep.
Never give up out there. You know, so we were looking at this amazing women's race, and it looks like finally they're cracking the code on getting rid of Miller. Wow. I actually didn't think they were going to get rid of her.
No, it's definitely go time here at Cross Vegas. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
Everybody at home, round of applause for Jeff. If you guys don't know, this guy does. Check out his book, too, which is called Behind the Stare,
which is my favorite sports book of all time. It's really awesome. An amazing read. And Jeff is one of those those guys that spent a lot of time over in Europe. And, and you really, you gain I think, Nicole, you'd agree, you get a whole new appreciation for the sport when you go to Belgium and Holland and really see what it's like. And that's kind of what we're doing here across Vegas now, is bringing that atmosphere for the first time to the United States.
Yeah, it's definitely a different perspective over there. I've learned a lot by going over there.
Sure.
You know, it's very different, and the courses are different. The perspective is different, and so yeah, it's nice to bring a little bit of that to the U.S.
Look who fought back, Colt.
I know, we're going to catch you guys up now. Coming across the start line here, we'll read out that top 10 for you or so. I know there's a lot of good battles going on in that second and third group. So first across the line there, that was your Luna Chicks rider. I believe that was going to be lap number 4. So Pendrell, excuse me, Pendrell, Compton, Nash, and then Meredith Miller just barely hanging on. And here comes that second group right now. So going to lead them across. That looks to be Caroline Monty. We'll see when that shot comes to the finish line. So here they are coming up. Caroline Monty is there. Georgia Gould has fought back very well. Rachel Lloyd is in the mix.
Wow, look at Gould driving that group. No one suffers like Caroline Monty.
Look at Amanda Nauman, too. A huge ride for Amanda Nauman, the Panda out of California, having a huge day today. Then you see there Erica Zavetta is in there. A few of the international women, but a huge pack inside that top 10.
Best ride of Nauman's career, isn't it? Right
it's getting close. I think it was, what, a 12th place, I believe, last year at the National Championships, which was a huge breakthrough for the felt rider there.
This is a tougher race than that.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
You had the Czech rider, the Canadian rider. She's inside the top 10. Yeah, this is. She's been working hard over the summer. Recently left her job with Felt Bicycles to focus on pursuing this full-time career. And very young and very new to the sport of cyclocross. She comes through the triathlon background, and she's definitely picking this up quickly. So right on the front now, pushing the pace in the maple leaf jersey of the Canadian cyclocross national champion. That is Catherine Pendrell. She dabbled in cross last year, did just a few races. She raced here. She raced in Cincinnati. She raced her own nationals, defeating Wendy Sims, I believe it was. But that it is right there. The two best riders in North America, the Maple Leaf and the Stars and Stripes. Compton and Catherine going head to head. Dave, body blow for body blow. I've never seen a women's race like this with so much talent at the front on North American. Going to take it. That's very uncommon in a race like this.
Yeah, now we're settling into a second group of 4 here with Georgia Gould driving things in 4th, then Monty, then Rachel Lloyd, and
Amanda. There's Amanda.
Ride,
you know, she had a great ride last year when we were in LA at the C2 races there. I think she was 4th or 5th, maybe both days, and stood on the podium with us and was very excited. So she's going to have a great season.
Look at Compton have to really dig in right now, holding onto that wheel of Pendrell. In my mind, Catherine Pendrell is the only other woman bike racer in the world that's stronger than her right now at this moment is going to be Marianne Vos. I mean, this is a huge talent. So, and now Katarina Nash, she's the other Luna rider in this group. And then, you know what? Blow for blow, Meredith Miller will not lay down. This is going to go down in my mind as Miller's best ride in her cyclocross career right now. Is she going to hold on to this group until, and they're about a lap and a half to go right now, so well inside 2 to go. And you know, I'm going to wonder now, Nicole, can Compton attack out of this group?
I don't know. You know, it's hard to get away on this course. It's like you try to attack and it doesn't get you very far.
Yeah.
So I see them going into the finish together and maybe attacking on the last half. I know that Katarina Nash is pretty aggressive with her attacks by racing with her, and she can put in a couple attacks within 1 lap. And she's good at that. And like you said, you know, Katie kind of attacks once and that's it.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. And, you know, you never know what Meredith's going to do.
You know, they say, Colt, that the trick to bike racing is to lick your opponent's plate clean before you start on her own, or your own. And I think that's what Nash is doing right now.
Absolutely.
She's licking their plates clean.
Yeah, you saw her start to wind up there. You see Compton now here thinking about coming around as well. These are not serious attacks. These are just testers. Seeing who's hanging on. Is Meredith Miller going to pop? Is Katie Compton going to show any weakness? You never know with Compton early in the season. She struggles from some leg cramping issues, some allergies. So they're throwing some testers out there, but you'll know when it's time to go. One of them's going to go. And the longer I see her out there and the longer I see the fitness, hashtag witness the fitness with Catherine Pendrell. If I had to put one name right on the top of the list right now, it would be that Maple Leaf jersey. If you had told me coming before this race that the winner would not be Katarina Nash or Katie Compton, I would have called you crazy. But the longer I watch this unfold, the more and more I like that idea of she is absolutely peaked right now. The Mountain Bike World Championships were, what, 4 or 5 days ago? Yeah, there was a big flight involved, but when you have the fitness to do something like that, it doesn't go away from a little jet lag.
Lunatics put you in business class. You're not so cramped up. And you're witnessing the fitness right now, as you said, with Pendrell. I'm with you, Colt. I mean, Nicole, you've raced every race in America. Is this the fitness course to define the fitness courses?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it. This is all about pedaling, how much power you have, how much fitness you have. So you're seeing right here, these are the best pedalers in the business.
Sure.
You know, when you get into other courses where you have some technical features and you can coast and there's speed and that kind of thing, then it's a different dynamic. But right here, you're watching the best pedalers.
God, I am just amazed with Meredith Miller. You know, at the end of last season in Boulder at Nationals, they alluded to the fact that she was maybe going to step back or move to a second tier with racing. Clearly, that's not the case. She has done a lot of work this summer to be riding in this group right now. I mean, you have to realize now there's 2 riders here at the tail end of a season, a long mountain bike season, and then 2 riders at the very front of their cyclocross season. This is really an amazing clashing of the swords here.
Katarina Nash sort of falls in between.
Sort of in between.
She definitely didn't retire. She raced quite a bit this year, did a few World Cups, but she definitely stepped back from the mega international travel that we've seen in years past. She stayed mostly to the U.S. Cup Series earlier in the year on the mountain bike. She did the North American World Cups, so she's still relatively fresh, and that's why I said she's not really planning a peak this year. Whereas a rider like Pendrell really was focusing on mountain bike worlds. Compton will be focusing on cross worlds. Nash is at that point in her career where she wants to do well in every race that she starts. So keep those comments coming, guys, at DoperSuck on Twitter if you have any questions or comments, any riders that we're not mentioning out there. But right now, that race is on at the front of this.
You know, and Maureen Bruno-Roy, one of everyone's favorite racers, right, making the comment that that top 5 at Tabor for when we're talking about Meredith Miller here.
Yeah, was it 6th place?
Okay, top 6 at Tabor was pretty comparable, and I have to agree.
And you know, it's another course similar to this in that it takes a lot of power.
Well, sure.
So she's just great on courses like that. I want to mention that the next 3 riders, Georgia Gould, Caroline Monty, and then Rachel Lloyd, they have a battle going on back there, and they seem to be doing really well. And they're all having great rides, and for them to sit at that level is really wonderful to see. Georgia seems like she's going to maybe try to bridge up a little bit.
This is the best Monty that we've seen in 3 years.
Oh, absolutely.
To tell you the truth.
Yes.
Coming off that crash in, I think it was Cincinnati last year, we really saw her struggle the rest of the season, but she is back. And Dave, when it comes to this point in a race, I start to look at who haven't I seen on the front of the bike race, and guess who's been second wheel this entire time, just saving her legs? That is hashtag straight out of Compton. She's ready to roar. She is ready to launch this thing right now, and I got to think Katie in her head, she doesn't lose. She doesn't think about losing. All she does is win, and this is what she's going to wind up here. They're going to get the bell here. 1 lap to go. Dave, I believe this is your specialty.
Yeah, this is my thing, man. Hashtag
give it to us. Give it to us, Dave.
But so, in all honesty, do you mind?
Yeah, please.
So, ladies and gentlemen at home, we are now down to 1 lap of racing and raining. 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go. I love this moment. We live for this. And, you know, I have to say, both of you two, Sven Nys talks about the fact that every race has that one moment, that one explosion. And I really think you're right, Colt. I think it's coming. And I think Compton probably going to do it in the next minute. I see this happening because Katie wants to light that fuse, but not too early. And here you go.
I'm getting really nervous.
I know the goosebumps are coming, the shakes are coming. Oh. It is going to be Katarina Nash on the front and Meredith Miller, the confidence building, turn by turn, lap by lap. She's starting to believe it. I think even she might have been questioning herself at the start. No disrespect to Miller, but just look at the company she's with. There's world championship stripes in there. There's Olympic medals in there. But Miller, when it comes down to just a pure sprint and raw power, like we said, former U.S. Pro road champion. She's won more criteriums in her life than I've ever participated in. If she can hold those wheels when the attacks start flying, she could be very, very dangerous for a podium position. When it comes to launching this long-range attack now, Dave, you said a Katarina, she might have it over 200 meters. Katie Compton, looking over her shoulder, she might have it over 500 meters. But for Pendrell, I think she's got to go early. I think she's got to go soon because head-to-head in those corners, unless she can get great position, I don't see her coming off a wheel and coming around to take down one of those two.
100% with you, Colt. And I think the time is gone, to tell you the truth. I think she needed to tack with 1 to go, maybe earlier than that. So when you think about it, Nicole, you've raced with all these. Okay, there we go. It looks to me like we're watching. Maybe not.
They're still all together, yeah.
So do road tactics? Meredith Miller has been a U.S. road national champion. Is there anything to it if those 4 go to the line together? Does she have any kind of edge with that kind of experience?
You know, she can start from pretty far back and start her sprint pretty far back. So I think that, you know, someone like Pendrell, like you said, has to do it kind of last minute snap. And I think Katarina Nash also. But I don't know. We're starting to see a gap here from Katarina a little bit. She seems Pendrell just went down.
Pendrell goes down. Pendrell back on the bike getting quickly, but
there we go.
Nah, she's not coming back from that.
Nope.
That's a slow start.
No.
Like Agatha Christie said, then there were 3 because we just lost 1.
The attack happens between these 2 right here, and I think they're dropping Miller. They know it's the time to go. So now the race is on between.
But look at that. Miller comes around. Yep. Unbelievable. If Meredith Miller wins this, we all got to go home. Unbelievable ride. I mean,
I think I'm going to get up and scream as she wins this. Unbelievable.
Colt, who's the punchiest rider here? Is it Nash?
It's Nash, but at this point, this course sucks power out of your legs like nobody's business. To have anything left at this point in the race, I mean, this is just 40 minutes for these women. They've been going at it from the start here. There hasn't been a let up. There hasn't been a looking around, and like in the men's race, you'll see 2 or 3 laps there in the middle where they sort of sit up a bit. But these 4 riders, now 3 riders, have been on the gas nonstop. The question is going to be who's going to make the move. Are they going to look over each other's shoulders? When we looked at that course map, that last 400 meters, it's incredibly twisty. It's going to be MotoGP style. Riders diving on the inside, swinging wide, and then going from a very slow speed, trying to get up to maximum power. I look for Katie Compton coming off a slow turn with her track background, getting up to speed. She's going to be very good at that.
Guess who's coming back?
Yeah.
No way.
She is not going to give up.
Unbelievable.
You know, I was going to say that, you know, once there's 3, then you kind of, in a sense, relax a little bit because you're like, oh, at least I'm on the podium, and I know I'm on the podium. But now I'm not so sure because I think Pendrell's really pushing the pace back here.
So is it tactic? Is that what's happening in that group of 3? Are they starting to kind of feel out the finish here?
I think at this point,
back with them.
They're waiting to the last minute. I think it's going to be a sprint because I think they're probably all pushing their limits to what they can do. But look at Pendrell. She's coming back. This is unbelievable.
Not one of those riders is afraid of a sprint. There's nobody here thinking, I got to get away or I'm done. They all believe they can do it. They're all looking around. Katarina Nash, she's going right now, but she's definitely not all in. Catherine Pendrell, on the other hand, we're in Vegas, and she just pushed them all in. No limits for the Canadian national champion, and she is riding that wave of adrenaline right now. Gets them. I think she was planning a big attack on the backside of this course when they went up that slow, grassy climb. I believe she could maybe make contact, but she's going to blow all of her matches here on her way back there. Look at this now. Meredith Miller thinking about getting in position. Meredith's got to have the guts right now. She's got to come around.
See, the problem is Meredith Miller is a fitness-based rider. She doesn't have those unbelievable technical skills like Compton or Nash.
You know what?
I don't see her coming around.
You would be surprised about Meredith. She has done a lot of riding this summer on her full suspension bike with her husband, and she has made really big gains. So I think she's gonna surprise you this year as far as her technical ability.
Hashtag drop her post.
This is the climb here. I think this is where Pendrell was planning her move while she was in that attack. This is where she made that big comeback to join the lead group. We'll see what kind of contact she can make here. But if these 3 start to sit up a little bit and think about positioning, like I said, I think maybe she can get up back on the wheel, but I don't see
right now Compton is baiting Nash. She really is. I mean,
she's been sitting there in that second place the whole entire race. I don't think I've ever seen her at the front pole. She's just waiting for her moment.
This is the bike racing equivalent of rope-a-dope that you're looking at right now. I mean, I really think so. Compton knows Nash as well as any other rider in the world. Both of these 2 were on the podium together in St. Wendel, Germany, with a silver and a bronze going back to 2011, actually. These 2 have been at the front. Miller is the wild card in this one. Okay, and now she's coming.
You know, and here's where some of the attacks have to start happening because there's not much real estate left.
So you attack Katie Compton, you get get a whole lot of elbow in your face, don't you?
And you said it, Nicole, they're coming into the money part of the course right here. In my mind, when I walked this venue, I said that the first rider off this Shimano flyover on the last lap would take it to the line.
Yes.
And we'll see those corners. We got a great shot there that's going to show the battles. And like I said, it's going to be very much MotoGP style, which is to say, you know, the fastest line through the corner, if you're in the lead, might be the case, but the rider behind you can dive that inside, slow you down. You'll see it in motocross racing. You see it as well in cyclocross. Zach McDonald is one of the masters of something like that. You know, you think you're taking the fastest line in a very crafty corner.
And it's Katarina, I say.
And Miller realizes the drama right now. She's going to try and come around, but here we go into these there are 4 S-turns here back to back. Who's going to get crafty? Who's going to dive on the inside? It's Miller.
Miller slides out.
Miller's a very experienced crit racer. She knows all too well about how important positioning is going to be. But Dave, wheel to wheel to wheel. The 3 strongest women in Las Vegas right now at the front of this bike race. Just a couple of corners left.
You know, Nash is doing a tremendous job right now of just closing the door over and over. Now she's going to slam the door. Compton has got to jam her wheel.
She's got to go now. You got to take that inside line. Katarina Nash going to let her. Meredith Miller winding up the sprint early here. She's going to try and carry that speed around the wide line.
There she goes, though. Compton is coming around. It looks like Compton is coming around right now. Oh,
unbelievable. It's going to be a slight uphill finish here as they come down a long stretch. They're going to see the kicker. That's everybody is winding up now. It's Compton. Compton's on, but Nash is right there.
Miller's coming from behind. Come on. Miller, look at her. Look at her. She's got it, Miller.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
No way. Come on, Miller.
No way.
Come on, Miller. I called that.
You did, Nicole. That will be the biggest win of Meredith Miller's career.
That is amazing.
Wow. Do you have goosebumps?
I do. I really do. And you know, I told you guys, she was like the underdog, and I'm like, don't underestimate her. Oh, that was amazing. I'm so happy for her.
That was a very, very special performance from Meredith Miller.
You know,
Vintage Miller right there.
And you know, when you have a new sponsor and you can step up like that the first race, yeah, boom.
You and I and everyone in the world should go buy a Noosa yogurt tomorrow to celebrate that win. Because
I agree. That was unbelievable.
You know, I love a company like Noosa supports women's cycling, and then they get this kind of victory here across Vegas, the biggest stage in the sport. Rachel Lloyd.
Caroline Mowney had a great race. What a great race for her to start out the season like this.
I'm happy to see her back at this level.
And here's Amanda Nauman, another great ride, and then
that's going to be Erica Zavetta.
Yeah.
This is you know what? Doing Amy D proud.
Yes, exactly.
No doubt about it.
I agree.
They searched for a rider to be part of the Amy Dombrowski Foundation team, and they sure found a great one with
And
Zavetta.
here comes Gabriella Duran. She had a good race. I know she's probably not completely happy with that race, but you know, she'll step it up this season.
Hey, we got a long way to go here, Tim.
Yeah. Oh God, I mean, this is so early. So early. You know what? I just have to go back to Meredith. I'm so excited.
So you trained with her a bit this summer?
We do. We've been doing some kind of couple rides. You know, we ride, you know, with Ben and Yos, and you know, Courtney's coming across the line. She had another great ride. And so, yeah, we ride together, and I've seen her skills improve, and I've seen her power, and yeah, there's Emily, or
I think that's Elle.
No, that was here's Elle Anderson. She doesn't look too happy with that. And Teal Stetson Lee, she's coming back this season, so she missed out last year.
Right? Didn't she have a hip problem or a back?
She had a back injury, a lower back injury, and so she had to nurse that all season. And now she's back. I know she's really excited to be back out here. And here's Crystal Anthony coming up. It looks like she didn't have her best race. She looks kind of worn out, but I know she's got better than that.
She'll be on the podium later this year.
Yeah,
wait
definitely.
till Gloucester. You'll be seeing
her. And you
her.
know, this race is really hard. You judge yourself. And,
totally. You know what? I think psychologically this race is one of those things that, okay, Meredith Miller walks away happy. No one else does. You know, I mean, you know, Compton's not going to be happy with not winning here today. Clearly Nash won't be.
And wait a minute.
Oh, hey, Colt, how's it going over there?
Meredith Miller. All hail the great Meredith. Unbelievable.
I think I'm as surprised as you are.
That's what I mean. We were saying you looked very comfortable in 4th position, 3rd position, but we were all wondering. I mean, we didn't necessarily think you could do it. Did you think you could do it?
Yeah, you know, Katarina, Catherine, until she fell, and Katie are all really strong. And you know, I didn't take a lot of pulls at the front, and so a lot of the credit goes to those girls for taking the initiative at the front. And You know, it's just not knowing exactly where we are at the beginning of the season. I felt like, hey, I'm with a couple mountain bikers and Katie Compton. Like, I got to kind of play my cards right and be smart today. And, you know, and I knew that going into that last twisty section was going to be important to go through first. And I ended up going into it third and just had enough in the sprint. So, holy crap, I don't know where that came from.
So, yeah. Coming out of last season, the word was that you were maybe retiring. You were going to step back from elite level racing. What happened this summer?
Well, I never could have told you that Noosa was going to step up as a title sponsor, that I'd be owning my own team, managing my own team, and riding for my own team. You know, and a lot of credit goes to my teammate Alan Krugoff for pulling together an amazing program with me, and to, of course, Noosa and Focus and Envy and Challenge. Envy. I mean, all of our sponsors were fantastic. We came into it really late, so luckily we had a lot of good relationships with people in the industry and outside the industry to pull it all together for us.
So, little stat here. You have become the second rider ever on North American soil in the last 10 years to beat Katie Compton, and the first rider to ever beat Katie Compton and Katarina Nash in the same race.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable ride.
How many times have both of them won it between the two of them? Like, I don't know, 5, 6 or something like that. It's crazy. So woo.
It's going to be a very exciting year. We'll let you go. We're going to cycle in the next rider here, but thank you very much, Meredith.
Thank you.
Katarina, we'll get you right over here.
So the announcer said you shocked the cyclocross.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Katarina Nash, second place, I believe, there on the day. That was insane. It's very rare that we see yourself, Katie Compton, so many women riders at the front of a race, unsure who's going to win. Tell me how it played out for you.
I had a really solid ride and kind of, jump on the cross bike today afternoon. And so some of the remounts this month were a little bit rusty, but no, overall really good ride. Was psyched to sort of ride with Katie and Meredith, and yeah, I made a little mistake going into the finish, got myself shut down, and excited about second place, wanted to win, but no, Meredith was really strong and smart, she used those the road experience to her advantage and had a great sprint, so yeah.
Well, it was an awesome race for the fans. Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
No. Oh, you bet them. No. Well, wow, Nicole. That's why I said we're going to go ahead and be right back and take a look at the people who support Cross Vegas.
Hydraulic road, Hydro R as we call it, is a big improvement to braking for road bikes. Hydraulic systems are impervious to the elements, so your braking system always feels the same. Hydraulic disc brakes have even more advantages in having perfect braking under any conditions, better modulation, more power. It offers lower hand force.
This is why I ride my bike. This is why I recycle. This is why I reuse. This is why I take the bus. This is why I compost. This is why I bring my own bag.
Welcome back to beautiful Las Vegas, and that was some beautiful bike racing, Nicole.
I think I still have chills. I am so incredibly excited about that race. That was so fun to watch. And actually, I had the best seat in the house, and I was happy to be here sitting and watching. And, you know, I have to say it. I called it, Dave.
You
Meredith
did?
Miller.
I'm giving that to you. No, absolutely.
She is just unbelievable right now. I'm really excited for her. I'm excited for her sponsor.
You're the only person, though, in this booth that wasn't surprised. I think even Meredith was a little surprised by that finale.
I think she was too, you know. And she's, what, the second American to beat Katie Compton ever, and then the first North American to beat Katie Compton and Katarina Nash in one race, in the same race.
Yeah. What a way to start your season.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody that was going to retire, you know.
Yeah, well, apparently she made a good call, I think we could say. So now we've got the world #1 and the world #2 coming up to face this incredible international field here at Cross Vegas. Welcome back to Behind the Barriers TV. I think this is why everyone at BTB TV works so hard, because this is the most beautiful sport in the world. I'm not going to apologize for that statement, because Colt just joining us again. Colt, I just called cyclocross the most beautiful sport in the world. When you see racing like that, pretty clear to me it is.
Oh, it's either rhythmic gymnastics or this. No, of course it's the most beautiful sport in the world. It's the best sport on planet Earth. It combines so many different levels of athleticism, and even within that cycling universe, I mean, how many different styles of riders do you see? Catherine Pendrell, a pure climber. Meredith Miller, once in her life, a pure sprinter. Nicole Duke sitting next to us, a former downhill racer. There's so many different styles, so many different physiological types of athletes that can come together and really compete against each other on an even playing field here on a cross course.
And Katarina Nash, an Olympic distance cross-country skier as well in her career. Nicole, I think that's worth touching on, is that you can come to the sport from anywhere. Actually, Meredith Miller played soccer at the University of Wisconsin when she was a collegiate athlete.
I think it's about pure athleticism.
Absolutely.
And it's nice that this sport caters to a lot of different types of athletes. That's why I think it brings so many people in. It's you know, been my favorite discipline in the sport of cycling, and it's really fun to see the crowds and the people get behind it and the culture, and then it's pure athleticism. So
it's nice to point out too that SRAM has been a tremendous supporter of Meredith Miller over the years. Good to see them get the win here today as well. They believe in Behind the Barriers TV. They believe in women's racing.
Yep.
They believe in athletes like you and Meredith, Amy Dabrowski over the years. I love it when they win.
I do too.
Yep.
I do too. I am biased, but you know, Meredith was on the CX1, so it's the first big win for CX1 and SRAM Hydro R. So yeah, it's a success for SRAM indeed.
All right, let's shift gears. Talk about the men's race now. You know, it's pretty hard to go against Lars van der Haar today, except for the fact that last year's world champion, probably, I mean, they call him the cannibal from Ball. I think in his lifetime, the most, that's a tough one. I'm going to ask Colt on this one too, Nicole. Is Sven the greatest cyclocross racer of all time?
Yeah, he's the most popular cyclocross racer of all time.
Anybody who can get 10,000 euro start money every single time he races is doing okay.
Yeah, when you really start to compare, you know, one rider's resume to another, I think so. He doesn't have the number of world championships that I think you would think he does based on his reputation.
It's two, correct?
Yeah, just two. But how many World Cup overalls? How many Super
80.
Prestige? How many GVAs? Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. And as far as consistency, the last decade, it's in my mind the greatest. But Katie Compton, very close. All right, guys, we're going to take a very, very quick break here, but we have your men's race coming up quite shortly, so stay with us.
It happened once before. Now, it's back for more. Bike NATO 2, The Return. Tune in all September to witness an unstoppable onslaught of races from around the world. Plus, Interbike 2014, the TV show. This is gonna be intense.
A gold medal run here.
Bike NATO 2, The Return. All this month. Only on Universal Sports Network.
Je t'aime, mi amour. Oui, oui, mon chéri.
Dit is niet te geloven, dit is niet te geloven. Knap werk van Klaas van Tornuit. Alle hens aan dek nu, want er is een demarrage. Jawel, Lars van der Haar. Pauls, die komt er langs nu. Man. Tom Meeuwsen, hij doet het hier. Waar kan ik door? Oh, serieuze thriller hier opnieuw. En Van der Poel is daar, hè. Dit is sport van hoog niveau.
All right, Colt McElwain and Dave Toll back here in the Behind the Barriers booth at 2014 Cross Vegas. Dave, let's all take a deep breath.
Yeah.
That was, we still got another race to go. I just realized that. I'm just coming down from my Meredith Miller Cloud9, and I realize we get to do it all over again. But let's refocus, let's rezone. For those of you joining us at home, thank you so much, guys. It's chaos here trying to follow everything, but I'm definitely seeing all the tweets coming in at Dopers Suck and all the Facebook messages and a lot of exciting stuff. We have your Elite Men 2014 Cliff Bar Cross Vegas coming up right now. Elite Men, a field of 60 of the most elite riders, not just from North America, but from around the world. The Desert Breeze Soccer Complex, our host here, and 60 minutes on tap of racing. So take this opportunity, if you guys can, get out there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go ahead and text your buddies. Let them know cyclocross racing is live on the internet right now of the highest caliber around the world, wherever you are. It is free to watch. This is huge, and if you guys want to see more like this, which I certainly do, let's make this the biggest possible experience, the most viewers we can get, and let's hope that we can do this a lot more often.
What do you think, Colt? When you look around the world, is it Cross Vegas and Koksijde where you leave the most kilojoules out on the course?
Yeah, I mean, you saw it at the front there. You said it exactly right. Yeah. I mean, Koksijde is a different beast with the sand, and you spend so much time running. I think that's one thing that this course, you know, if you're a strong runner, that doesn't quite favor you here as it would on some other courses. But yeah, in terms of raw power, it's not the fastest course. It used to be very high speed. We'd see groups of 20, 30 guys, although in the men's race, especially early on, I expect we will still see large groups, but it's slowed down quite a bit. They had a lot of rain here earlier in the week, so things are soggy. It's very slow. The grass is long. It's file treads across the board when we talk about tire selection out there. But yeah, just it is pure power, as Nicole Duke said earlier, just a peddler's course.
Nicole is going to be right back with us. How fantastic is she with the analysis?
It's awesome.
It's really great. We've been waiting a long time to have Nicole. So, you know, here we go. Our men's start list. Lars van der Haar, world #1 right now. Hard to believe that Sven isn't, but Sven Nys is with us as well. And then you've got Thijs van Ormgen, who is sitting #3 on UCI rankings. Then nice to see Jeremy Powers and Tim Johnson. Jim Johnson is coming back from Canada, doing a week of TV at the Tour of Alberta. And I know he was riding up there and trying to get some miles in, but not an easy run in for Tim here at Cross Vegas.
Yeah, he was in Utah and Colorado as well, so a lot of work for him in August. We have Marcel Wildehar, they're number 6. Ryan Trebone, number 7. Actually not here.
Not here,
Just
right.
a few days ago, busted up a bunch of ribs in his back and his chest. He's going to be out for an indefinite amount of time. I've heard 4 to 6 weeks, perhaps. I'm sure he's tuning in back home. We have Simon Zahner. He's going to be on that front row as well. And then Jonathan Page riding for Fuji Spy. He'll be the first rider on the second row, followed by the very handsome Ben Bairden.
You know, I want to note that Jonathan Page is the only elite American to have ever been on the podium at the World Championships with that silver medal.
2008.
And actually, to be fair, Ben Burden actually won that the World Cup at Koksijde.
Yeah, twice.
Twice. There you go. So it's kind of nice to see number 9 and number 10 on your start list have those kind of credentials in this sport. Then Jeff Kabush, I think probably, when you talk about your working class hero, Jeff Kabush, who has won a lot of C1s in his career, also one of the top Americans, an Olympian, not an American, a Canadian. And then
Jamie Driscoll, the 2009 winner here at Cross Vegas. That's one guy who always gets up for this race. We've seen him off the front early in breakaways, rides very well here. Lucas Winterberg, the Swiss rider who bases himself out of the Mid-Atlantic during most of the season. Zach McDonald riding in some new threads this year for the KCCX Elite Cyclocross team presented by Challenge Tires. He's a rider to watch. You never know what he's going to pull off. A very talented young rider. And then Justin Lundeen, the Honey Badger, formerly of Massachusetts, now of Utah, but most importantly, formerly of Massachusetts. Do you guys know where I live?
I'm going to guess
Massachusetts.
Yeah, right.
I got Boulder Squared over here next to me. I got to give some shout outs to New England, the epicenter of cyclocross in the world.
That's our promoter here, Brooke Watts, who's just a fantastic human being. Brooke might have more credentials or more cred in Belgium than any other American in the sport. He is really invested in this event and making those contacts, and it's really, really wonderful to be here tonight. And when you look out there, the crowd is absolutely massive. A fantastic evening for racing, and not a bad moon.
I believe it's the harvest moon.
The harvest moon.
Yep.
Only one man is going to be able to harvest here today.
Ooh. Letting him go early, Dave. No, but to your point on Brooke, I mean, it's funny. Every year I have this realization. I meet up with Brooke and I chat with him, and 3 minutes in I think, this is the craziest man I've ever met. He's just so enthusiastic. He's got all these crazy features. And then you start to look at, what the best races are and who's behind them. And you got guys like Richard Fries and Brooke Watts and Chris Grealish. I mean, they really are just crazy, passionate people that had a dream to make this happen. It's so hard to put on a bike race of this caliber, and it really takes a special person. I mean, round of applause across the board for all the race directors out there that bring this highest level racing to North America. And then there's Elvis.
I hope that Elvis appreciates who Sven is.
I hope Sven Ness appreciates who that is.
You know, like Nicole, obviously, in full disclosure, you and Ben are pretty close. and I think it's fair to say that most Belgians are pretty hip on American culture, aren't they?
No, Ben, I think, grew up wanting to come over to America, and he had American cars. He was into, American music. When you go over there, it's everything is subtitled. It's American TV, and everything is subtitled for them over there. So they grow up with our culture.
It's interesting that way, because you wouldn't really think that. I mean, there's so many things that are just wonderful about Belgium. It's interesting to know, and I'm actually appreciative of the fact that American culture is something that they kind of dig over there. So as we take, that's a really good look at the start grid right now that they're starting to fill in. Colt just ran down our top 15 guys in the grid, which is basically going to be your first 2 rows. Nicole, what's the difference between starting on the first row or starting on the 4th row?
Oh, it's a huge difference. Like I said, Caroline Money likes to start fast. I like to start fast. I like to get out of the way because I think a lot of crashes happen in the beginning of the race. There's been a lot of crashes that have happened here in Vegas because there's the gates on the side, the metal gates, and a lot of handlebars get stuck in when you have such a wide crowd and everyone's trying to get around. So if you're on the front row, you're out of that. You're gone, and there's a lot of battles going back in the 4th row. So it's pretty hard. There is a big difference.
So we haven't seen the new J-POW National Championship kit there. Getting a look at Jeremy Powers, the American, up on the front row. Tim Johnson with the Red Bull helmet on right there, talking. I love the fact, and Tim always cringes when I bring it up, but Tim started the modern revolution of American cyclocross when he was on that podium back in 1999. And you know the two guys on the podium with him.
Tim Johnson. Oh yeah. Bart Wellens and Sven Nys.
Wellens and Nys as a U23. It wasn't a junior podium, it was a U23. So,
and let me give a little respect to Matt Kelly, that same era, also standing on
world
the
champion.
World champion in cyclocross. So that era, the McCormick brothers, obviously. I just saw Mark actually out there on the finish line, still supporting cycling. I think he's a rep for Fuji and a few other brands. Dave, I'm going to run a few names down here. We talked about the top 15, but it's Cross Vegas, so there's riders well into the second, third, fourth, fifth row, etc. that are very, very strong. So looking just after that second row, some names to watch. Mike Garrigan is here from Canada. Sean Milne, Marcel Vandenham, the U23 national champion. Alan Krugoff. There's something in that Noosa yogurt. He is the new teammate of Meredith Miller. Cameron Dodge, a young rider, 23 years old, had a huge season on the mountain bike. Look for him out there. Cody Kaiser, hashtag Cody wrote it. He's going to be having a great day. Troy Wells, Robert Marion, Adam Craig is in here, the enduro specialist. We saw his teammate Kelly Emmett have a great ride. Anthony Clark, a huge name to watch out of that Jam Fund program. Jeremy Powers farm system, so to speak. Adam Meyerson is here. Derek Zanstra, your former Canadian national champion on the mountain bike. Tobin Ortenblad is here for Cal Giant Strawberries. Mitch Hoke is in attendance. Jake Wells is out there, and so on and so on. But you start to notice a trend here. You can't pick a name on this start sheet that doesn't have a Masters National Championship or won the Norba Series in 2004. Every single guy here is a legit bike racer.
No question. I mean, if you thought the women's race was good, I think you're going to see something pretty similar to it. In years past, Colt, I mean, we've seen what, groups of 10, 12 riders together 2 laps into this thing. The one thing, and I definitely want to let him know he's missed here, is Ryan Trebone has always been fantastic here. So Ryan, I'm going to guess if you're not watching, we're stunned. And
it would be
wish
hard
you,
for him to watch right now. He's a couple broken ribs.
Ryan's definitely watching. He's been blowing up my Twitter feed over here with his predictions, looking very good. Yeah, he's got the inside track. He's suffered on more than a few of these guys' wheels over in Europe, and there's definitely going to be some names to watch it there. Obviously, we're all talking Lars van der Haar, we're all talking Sven Nys, but some of those lesser known guys here in North America, the Telenet Fidea riders, Sepp Van Mark is here, getting the names confused.
He was at the Tour of Alberta.
That's right. What am I? Sven Van Avermaet.
There you go.
That's right.
So in the last few years, if you want to look back, Van der Haar won here in 2011. I think he was, 21 years old when he won that year. Jeremy Powers has won here. That was 2012. Back to 2010. Here's a blast from the past. Francis Mouret, the French rider.
Sneaky rider in the final corner. They're getting it done in the sprint.
And then there was an interesting run when Jamie Driscoll won. That was fantastic, beating Chris Jones and Jonathan Page on the podium that year. And you go back to 2008, and it was our man, Ryan Trebone, Tim Johnson, and then Adam Craig, another interesting name. Another guy who's got some experience on the mountain bike.
Adam Craig is one of the 5 most talented American-born cyclists of the last decade. I mean, he's so incredible what he can do on all levels of bikes, and really just a guy that loves riding his bike. Never was able to totally zone in on one particular aspect of cycling, but doing very well in the enduro side of things. Now, real quick, guys, take this opportunity. Nice to see a little respect there from Powers and some of the European riders. Let's get those predictions in. At DoperSuck on Twitter. Of course, there's at David Toll, at Nicole Duke now. Let's hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear your top 5. We saw a lot of good picks in the women's race, but I'm going to go out and I don't think I saw a single pick for Meredith Miller, not only as the winner, but in the top 3. So who's going to be that dark horse for you in the men's race?
To be fair, Nicole did call that out of that group. And we both, I think all of us agreed
I said on Twitter,
top 5.
Not here.
Right, but, okay. So in my mind, I guess we get I love this game. I see Van der Haar winning. I see Sven second, and I see Jeremy
Can a North
third.
American win this race?
Not today.
I don't know. I think
I'm gonna call Sven.
Yeah.
Sven-ness.
I'm gonna go Lars.
Okay.
I think Lars has another year under his belt. He's a young rider. He's getting exponentially faster year after year. Whereas a guy like Sven, he's lucky to stay as fast. I think that's safe to say at his point in his career. You see him there, Vander Holschot getting down in the position. He's going to be ready to launch. Tim Johnson, he's on his attack mode right now. Everybody keeping an eye on that green light waiting. Jeremy Powers looking very calm and relaxed, but don't be fooled. That heart is beating right through that Stars and Stripes skin suit. Everybody ready to go. They sit up a little bit, take another moment. But Dave, we are about to go go into launch control right here. Second row, third row, no regard for human life. It is going to be pandemonium. Nicole Duke said it. You got to get out of the way of the crashes. Let's get this thing underway.
Van der Haar is like a cocktail napkin with an outboard motor strapped on it. Watch what's going to happen here right now. Classic Vegas start. So, and look at Johnson, who's so technically perfect. Here we go, Nicole.
He was like a cat about to pounce. Nobody else was that low.
Boom, there he goes. Jeff Kabush getting a very strong start for the Scott Three Rocks Racing team. Ryder's going to go out and do a quick start lap before they head out on course. And look at that. Kabush is right there. Ben Bairden puts himself in perfect position. And now the race begins for everybody else. The second, third, fourth, fifth row, everybody. It is a race over these first few minutes to get yourself in position. If you don't make that lead group, if you don't make that chase group now, you're not making it at all.
Talk about that, Nicole. How important it is. Like, it's got to be amazing what you go through. Oh, look at Ben moving up.
Oh, I kind of like that guy in the front there. Yeah, I know Ben's about the money, and he's thinking about the whole shot right now. Yeah, but it is really important to establish yourself.
His girlfriend is fancy. It takes a lot of money to
I am so high maintenance. So high maintenance.
But that's a nice start from Ben right now as we're taking a look at the Fidea train right there. Van der Haar is in the red, white, and blue as the reigning Dutch champion. You're going to see the Belgian champion Sven Nys coming up just right beside Van der Haar right now. But I guess we're going to be talking about Fidea and Ben Bairden for a little bit here.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It's hard to be the single one out there when you have three teammates that can kind of work together, and this works as a road race. So it looks like Telenet Fidea is taking the lead again, and we'll see if they hold on to the race for a while.
Back when I was a kid, Raleigh had a really big racing program with guys like John Tomac, and it's awesome to see them get behind racing again. What they're doing with Caroline Monty and Ben Bairden, it really gives you heart, because a brand like Raleigh should be racing, and here they are racing at the front today.
So it's European.
You're too young, Cole, to remember Raleigh.
You know, it's Raleigh and Clement together, the two old school kind of vintage brands coming together.
What's old is new.
Right.
So again, it is European descent all over the front of this race right now. 1, 2, and 3, and then surprisingly, maybe a little bit, it is Jeff Kabush right up there. We think of him more as a mountain biker, a former World Cup winner, 2009 or 10, I believe, in Bromont. But he has a history, especially with this race. He's won a few big UCI races back in Fort Collins as the USGP. But I believe, Nicole, he's been on the podium at this race once, maybe twice.
Yeah, he was third a couple years ago, I believe. I remember seeing that race.
Well, and you know, Kabush is another guy that really is able to generate at threshold a lot of watts per kilogram, and that's what this course. There's obviously handling elements, I should say, but you know, it's about power and sustaining power, and Kabush can do that.
So I look at this first lap. Obviously, it's chaos. It's all riders all over this course. I don't look so much to who's in the front. All those riders up there, you expect to see them. I look for who's not there. I saw Sven Nys maybe a little farther back than I would have thought coming into this race as the defending champion. Saw him back there maybe around 15th position. I don't see Jeremy Powers right up there on a second or third wheel. Van der Haar starting to come around now. But as we saw in that women's race, I mean, usually you take the group size in the women's race and you multiply it by about 3 or 4 for the men. So to see 4 women stay together, I would not be surprised if we saw all this entire race come down to a mega group sprint. But then you start to get the tactics involved. When you get 9, 10, 15 guys all involved, they start to look at each other, and it becomes time for a rider like Jamie Driscoll, who did that back in 2009 with Chris Jones, where they both went off the front. They caught a lot of the favorites looking at each other and were able to hold on. This course, there's not a lot of drafting to take place. If you can get a gap here and you can sustain that, it can be very hard for a group to come back together. Jonathan Page right there where he needs to be. Lucas Winterberg is up there. Jeremy Powers looking very relaxed. We saw Jeremy last year, Dave, kind of change his approach in terms of the start. We saw him kind of fade back a little bit, work his way from 10th into 5th. He was always there when the split happened, but he was very rarely the guy making those efforts early in the race.
I think we really saw Jeremy Powers mature a lot through the season last year, and this was the race that I think really where he came in with a whole new mindset about the way he's going to race. As we take a look now,
I'd like to point out that Alan Krugoff is sitting in second.
That's Krugoff,
so,
the
there's
Noosa teammate of Meredith Miller.
That Noosa yogurt, and you know we
can I ride for Noosa?
Well, can you go get us some Noosa?
we just had a local race last weekend, and Alan Krugoff was not far off of Powers, and he had an exceptional race.
Yeah, was in front of Ben Baird.
In front of Ben.
Right.
So Alan's coming on with great form. I know he's been riding a lot, and he's really focused.
You know, he went all in on cross, I guess probably 2 years ago, but he went double all in
yes,
this
he
year.
did.
You know, moving out of his apartment in Boulder, and you know, they bought that Sprinter van, and they really, really have invested in the sport right now. I thought I saw Paige coming up as well.
Paige is sitting in there, top 10. I saw a few Page names there in the prediction, guys. Keep them coming. A lot of similar names here. You know, Jake Davidson here on Twitter. Nice, Vanderhaar, Powers, someone from Fedea, and Kabush. I think that's very safe. I want to hear some dark horse names, though. If you had told me Alan Krugoff, I would not have thought so in the top 10 or even top 5. But here he is. Who else is out there? I see a guy like Anthony Clark coming through. I want to hear from you guys at Dope or Suck. Who's going to surprise you in the maybe not the top 5 because it's so stacked, but who's going to surprise you in the top 10?
Well, Nicole's pointing out to me Simon Zahner sitting well up there right now as well.
He's in the lead right now.
He's actually
can't sit better than that.
Well, look at Krugoff, though. So that's the yellow sleeves and red shorts, well, black and red shorts that you're looking at with Alan Krugoff. But he looks a little different on the bike to me
you know,
right now as well.
And he typically last year he would sit in the front like this, and then I would say, okay, he's going to fade. But I'm not so sure this year. From what I saw at the race last weekend, he did not fade, so he could very well sit here for the rest of the race.
You know, I think back to my
hours and hours and hours, right?
Yeah, I think back to my last race watching Alan Krugoff, and that was the National Championships in Boulder back in January. An unbelievable ride. Rode his way into the top 10, then into the top 5, was attacking, riding like a man possessed, earned himself a bid for the World Championships. I think he comes into this year, he's still a very young rider. Do you know, Nicole? I think he's 30 maybe.
I think he's a little under 30.
I think 28.
He's got 28, I believe. He's got a lot of promise.
And newer to the sport of cyclocross. It was just a few years ago he was coming up on that Boulder Cycle Sport team local program, won himself a contract with Raleigh Clement, and just continuing to climb the ladder now, and he couldn't be more stoked. They are in the Belgian national kit. They're going side by side. Those are your two favorites coming in. The Belgian national kit, that's Sven Nys, and the Dutch national kit, that is Lars Vanderhaar.
You know, I got to say, Simon Zahner looks extremely good on the front right now. I would think that if you told Sven Nys that he would be into a full lap and still with a group of about 40 other Americans, he would have never believed that.
Yeah, but what we saw from Sven last year is he just sat there forever.
Right.
And then it was like, the last 2 laps he took off, and it was like it was not an effort. So, you know, we could see that this year.
I'm with you. Yeah. You know, the only guy that could go with him, Colt, was Ryan Trebon. And eventually Trebon was in over his head as well.
You know what?
That effort.
I'm gonna tweak that a little bit. Ryan Trebon was the only one to go with him. Yes. I think Jeremy Powers could have, and I think he realized that later in the race as we saw Powers start to come back to Nice last year. I think if Powers had, you know, maybe it's confidence, maybe it was whatever. I think this year, I think we're going to see Powers follow that move. I think he's, as you said, he's matured a lot over the last 12 months. I think when one of those guys goes, it's not going to be a question for him. He's going to latch himself onto that wheel, as Trebon did last year. It's really win or go home. A guy like Ryan Trebon, that's what I respect so much about the way he rides. He never races for second place or third place. Maybe he didn't have the legs to go with Sven, but he went with Sven because that was the move that was going to win the race. And I think guys like Powers are going to do the same this year.
I agree. I really think that Powers believes in Powers as much as we've believed in Powers over the last few years. It's really nice to see that. Okay, there's some splits, Nicole.
Here comes Ben Burden.
Look at him. Ben moving right up. Yep.
Into third position himself.
Well, the Las Vegas 945 just left the station. If you're not on it, you're not winning a bike race today. Because once these moves go, and you can see Sven is there.
There's a separation here.
Yeah.
Probably top, 7, 8 riders.
So when you look in that group, I believe that Page was there and Powers was there. And boy, a whole lot of non-Americans sitting up in that front group right now.
Yeah, that was Thijs van Amerongen.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, please forgive us on the pronunciation, guys. But that's going to be him there. Yeah, bib number 16 on the front. He is your third-ranked rider in the UCI coming in here as they are going to make their way now. They're going to come down. They are going to hit that Raleigh ramp and send them right into the TRP brake zone. And that's really one of, I'm going to say, the most exciting feature on course, just because you get that mix of guys bunny hopping. They come in so fast. They fly up that hill. And on that first lap, even in the chaos of the pack on lap number 1, we saw quite a few riders riders bunny hopping through there.
I think Nicole and I agreed that if we weren't lucky enough to be here doing this job, we would hang out at the TRP break zone.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be the place I think to go watch.
That is the place to be, or the Focus Bike Stairway for sure.
We could move back and forth, Nicole.
All right, let's see who's going to ride. There we go. One of the Fidea riders. I believe that was Thies right there. Sven Nys going to ride it. Powers coming in. He's usually good for a bunny hop or two. Vanderhaar off his bike. Kabush off his bike. Tim Johnson off his bike. There he is. Jeremy Powers. But interesting. Looks a little slower this. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be Rudy Bear. Troy Wells, the Cliff Bar rider, straight to the mat. Troy's at home. Todd, Big Brother's at home. He's going to watch that one and just shake his head. Troy Wells, you got to get back on that bike. You have got to get going. Uncle Rude going down there in the barriers, but here we go. So interesting though, Dave, at the front, in years past, it's been an advantage to ride. It seemed to me that the riders running there were a good percentage faster than the riders bunny hopping.
Looked like a half-second faster, to me, to tell you the truth. And that's the TRP break zone that we're talking about, one of the critical sectors of this. Now some looking around going on. Let's take a look at who's making that surge, Nicole, because that's Sean Mild. Holy cow.
I did call the name. Rode for the Keo Cyclocross Collective last year. A rider, he's got a huge pedigree on the road base. On the road racing side of things. He's also won a few UCI races. He won the NBX Grand Prix in New England last year or the year before, and we've seen it year after year where the road guys come into this race on some smoking fast form. Chris Jones, Jamie Driscoll, they've done it in the past. Why not throw your hat in the ring?
So there's a team in Colorado called the Rio. It's a restaurant.
Right, yeah, he's the new team director.
He was, and he was not racing full time this year. But he was riding a lot, and absolutely, you can't fool me. Clearly, this guy was
Boulder, man.
I tell you, this
something in the water there.
He must have had a Noosa yogurt. I mean, but clearly,
you know, I have to say something about his sponsor, Boulder Cycle Sport, and they really helped establish the cyclocross scene in Colorado.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason that we have such great riders there, I think, is because they have really, really helped the scene.
Can you believe that Boulder Cycle Sport right now is riding with Telnet Fidea on the front? I mean, this is a whole.
That's their dream come true.
In a world where you live underwater.
All right, you two, save it for Boulder. I knew there was going to be a lot of Boulder love. I bet there's a JRA.
I mean, I don't see anyone from Massachusetts dominating right now. I don't know.
Just saying.
The JRA Cycles guys are getting really fast for the New England races. The Cycle Off team's going to be flying this year.
Isn't Milne? He's part of that Johnson Powers. He's from New England originally.
Milne would not be the rider he is today if it weren't for the NECX, the New England cyclocross community. I mean, he really cut his teeth racing there in that Verge Series. Sven Nys going into the pit. He's going to take. He's going to take a bottle. So taking advantage of that UCI rule that when the temperature is, I forget the exact number, but as hot as it is here in Vegas, you are able to take feeds without getting off your bike in the feed zone.
I think it's 24 Celsius.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And so, well, good for him.
Now look at him sitting up here, and I see the flowing locks of love, and that will be Anthony Clark just riding his way into this lead group. It is time to freak out, Anthony.
On his new twin bike.
So, yeah, I was just going to say, so Emily Kachorik has started this bike brand. She is a fantastic young lady from Sacramento.
Yep.
And so when they were looking for an athlete, they found Anthony Clark. And I think most people who watch Behind the Barriers TV have really enjoyed getting to know that young man. Talk about passion. Talk about a guy that's doing it because he loves it. That story about Powers out on the training ride and having Anthony Clark in tennis shoes on a 22-year-old motorbicon. Right. Have you ever heard this one, Nicole?
No, I haven't.
So Powers is out doing intervals, and this kid, Anthony Clark, with cut off jorts, I think is what we call them, and high top shoes, and he actually hangs with Powers while he's doing like 450 watts, intervals.
Yeah.
And so that is a part of what the Jam Fund is all about, which is Jeremy and his buddies have created a charity to support up and coming riders out of New England. And Anthony, there he is, Anthony Clark, Ben Burden.
Yep, Ben Burden's kind of fallen back there a little bit, but hopefully he'll gain back up. And Jeremy just rode those stairs, the Foundry stairs. It seemed to be no problem for him, and he tends to ride most of those obstacles. So Foundry stairs, or ride stairs for Jeremy.
Yeah, I was talking to Sven Nys earlier in the week, and he said that the spacing is a bit different on some of those steps this year, whereas last year he was riding them, and so were a lot of other riders. He said the spacing was just off as Tobin Ortenblad comes through.
Yep.
A lot more riders choosing to dismount that this year.
Yeah, they're making their way over the Shimano flyover. It looks like, I don't know, I don't see any air this year over the flyover.
No, and I think part of that is because, you know, if you're just joining us, Las Vegas has had a tremendous amount of rainfall in the 2 days leading up to this event. I'm going to guess that you're just not carrying that speed into it. Yeah. I mean, this is the slowest, most technical Cross Vegas that we've seen in the event's history, which goes back to 2006. So I'm going to guess the average speed means nothing in cyclocross. Sean Milne is riding on the front right now.
Ride her down. One of the FIDE riders, bib number 33. Who was bib number 33?
That's going to be Don Sote.
Okay, it's not Larry Bird. Oh, another rider. That same corner
right there.
Very slick corner. Barry Wicks comes through. Avoid that. That's going to be one to make a mental note of. Remember that for later in the race. Riders in front of him maybe didn't see that, but that's coming right into that finish area, Dave.
I have to say there's a separation in a group here happening, I think, and Alan Krugoff seems to be with that group. It's very impressive.
There he is.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm serious, so make a mental note of that corner. When you see guys putting it all out on the line with 1 lap to go, when they're coming into that finish line, that's a very, very dangerous place to go. Tim Johnson, I thought he was out of this, and there they are. 1, 2, 3, New England's finest. Tim Johnson out of Massachusetts, Jeremy Powers out of Massachusetts, and Jamie Driscoll originally from Jericho, Vermont. So those three had a lot of experience. They all were teammates back in the day on the Cannondale Prepared by Cyclocross World Team. All three now on different squads, and coming to the front, it is the Belgian bad man himself, Ben Bearden, on the front of this race. This isn't about the money. This is just about he's feeling good right now.
Yeah, Ben must have done a lot of work this summer.
You know, he did. Actually, I think he's probably the strongest that he's been that I've seen him, and we did a lot of work in the gym, and he's just solid this year, and from what the riding that I've seen, I think he's going to have a great year.
So I have to ask, I saw you chatting with Ben half an hour before his race started.
Yep.
What kind of things does he talk about with you before the race, if you can tell us?
You know, he just says, "Baby, I love you."
Is that it?
No. You know, he just tells me how the course is, and he came over and he told me, you know, he said the course isn't that bad. He said it's not as deep as maybe what we're thinking. He's used
danger,
and that kind of thing.
Go ahead.
Danger. Sven Nys on the front of the bike race.
Oh, boy.
Everybody take notice.
Oh, boy.
Powers, where are you? Get to the front. Jeremy Powers, can you hear me? Get to the front of this bike race. It's go time right now. Look at the gap immediately opening up. Out of the saddle. Smash time. Smash time. The Belgian is going.
Come on, Ben Burden. Come on, Ben. You can do it.
Why do they call him the cannibal?
Back up there.
This is going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Ben doesn't want to give it up.
If you didn't just shift down into a harder gear, you can just forget about the podium right now. It's time to get on the pedals. It's time to go. We saw Katarina Nash make that move in the women's race. If you weren't there, there was no coming back for it on this course, and these guys are no slouch. This isn't number 25 taking a flyer off the front. This is the defending champion, the 2013 world champion. Dave, you said it, maybe the greatest cyclocross racer of all time.
And he just took out the 20-pound sledgehammer right there. I mean,
I have to say something that Ben always talks about, Sven, and he said that he's been racing with him since he was a kid, and he said that he can train harder than anyone he's ever known. He can stack on the miles, and his power output over a certain amount of time is just higher than he's ever seen out of anyone, and that's been consistently in his life since he was young.
It's about that capacity to take that on and the recovery, and then having the capacity to do another huge workload. There's no doubt. You're looking at the guy that really has brought cyclocross and turned it into a bit of a phenomenon, I think. Is there any rider that's more well-known in the sport than Sven? Not even close.
No.
Not even. Bart Vellens was maybe a close second with the Vellens and BTB show.
He was always the bridesmaid. I mean, he was famous for being second to Sven.
Absolutely. And now it looks like we've got, I think that we're going to see Thijs van Amelgen there joining Sven.
He's been right there all day, an early aggressor, taking the lead early on. I haven't seen him slip outside those first 3 or 4 positions all day. Telling
Nicole, that's Simon's,
all over the front of this race.
Sorry, Colt. That's Simon Zahner right there as well, isn't it? Sitting third wheel and Ben Burden fourth?
I believe it is.
There's Lars van der Haar moving up too.
You know, he was in the lead in the beginning of the race, so it looks like he's kind of gotten his power back, and he's starting to come back. Sven doesn't seem to be gaining too much ground, though. I know he put in a hard attack there, but it looks like he's going to conserve his energy again, and it looks like everyone is going to kind of join back up.
I bet you even he's a little surprised to see that he's still got 7 guys with him after the effort. You know, I see everyone in the sport loves Greg Keller, right? One of the great, telling us that actually Krugoff is 30.
Yeah, just turned 30 this year, I think.
Yeah.
But still,
Nicole thinks everybody's 18.
He's a baby.
He's just got that baby face.
Yeah, he's a baby face 30.
He's a young
like
30,
he's
absolutely.
Newer. He's not one of those guys like a Troy Wells that has been on the scene since he was 16, racing a full USGP schedule.
Right.
He's still excited about the level he's at because he continues to progress year after year after year.
Guys,
if you're a Jeremy Powers fan, are you worried right now?
I don't think so. I think he's sitting exactly where he wants to be, and I saw him do this a lot last year. He did
that against a North American field. Can you do that against these guys?
I don't know, but he seems to be still in the game, so we'll see.
Well, and so's Krugoff right now. Krugoff is hanging on to this group. As a matter of fact, there is
I'm putting my money on Krugoff right now.
You know, you'd get long odds. I mean, and you know what?
Call it in.
Risk big, win big, right?
Meredith Miller did it.
Yeah, so I got to say, and going right back to where we started, I think Van der Haar's your guy. You can see him sitting 4th wheel here in the Dutch National Champions jersey. So I would love to see the Americans National Champion jersey up in this group as well, that being Jeremy Powers, but Krugoff is there. And are they coming back? So Burden is going. Yep, there he is.
Burden's there.
And now Powers is right back in there.
Oh, and is that Adam Craig?
That is Adam Craig.
Holy
I told you. And Anthony Clark.
Yep.
If you told me the top 4 Americans would be Sean Milne, Alan Krugoff, Anthony
Jeremy
Clark,
Powers.
Powers in there.
There was Paige was up there.
Yeah, Paige. But
if you told me Clark was going to be in that group, I would have said you're crazy.
I just saw Zach go through McDonald.
You know, that's one of the things I love about Behind the Barriers, and thanks for joining us here this evening, is they do a great job of highlighting guys like the last week this week I saw the Jeremy Duran, Gabby Duran episode, and they did a really fascinating interview or show about Anthony Clark. Did you see that, Nicole?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that because I'm curious about them because, you know, Jeremy and Gabby are, you know, a similar couple to Ben and myself, and so we share a lot of the same experiences.
Maybe not as good looking.
I mean, well,
what can you do? Right. So, Colt, let's take a look at this group. That is definitely going to be Zahner sitting 3rd wheel right now. We're looking at actually Sven Nys is being attacked. Does that take some moxie or what?
Van der Haar just coming through there. Now that's, again,
that's Van der Haar.
I was just going to say, that's the danger when you get aggressive in these corners. We saw it a number of times now. In this corner specifically, it's very dangerous. It's tempting to take that inside line. Oh, boy.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, and that attack seems to work.
Bib number, we seen a 16, I believe that will be ties.
There you go. This is a huge, huge effort. He's dimming the power grid in Vegas right now with this effort as we're taking a look.
Look at the blocking across the front, though. Telenet Fidea is just going to sit right up and let this one go. Nobody seems to be panicking. Paige looks very good in there. Derek Zanstra hanging on. Jake Wells, the working man himself.
Yeah, Jake and I were teammates when I first started my season, and we traveled together, and it's really good to see him up there in the top and to do really well because he's got a family, he's working full-time, and he still is at it. It's great.
He's a carpenter, isn't he?
And now he's doing some coaching, I believe.
This is huge.
Well, ties is gone.
This is
Look
huge.
at the gap now. I mean, when you think about how many more watts you need to produce to open up a gap like that in a 2-minute period, and is it Alan Krugoff leading the chase back?
Yes.
Just move over, guys. I'm going to bring this back. Just watch.
I think I need to start eating more Noosa.
I think we all do. This is like the Italians.
You couldn't have asked for a better debut for this. I mean, this team really just came together in the last few weeks, the last month or so. Unbelievable ride. But that's I'm as impressed with Krugoff as I am. I'm disappointed in the riders behind. I think this is a great opportunity for one of those other guys. Maybe not a top 3 favorite, but it's a great opportunity for a guy like maybe Sean Milne or someone to take advantage of that move and try and stay away early.
Looks like Krugoff's been working on his bunny hopping skills too. He took that really well.
Cameron Dodge in there, a huge ride for the young rider Cameron Dodge. I believe Betcha Mitch is in there. That's going to be Mitch Hoke. And then Tim Johnson coming off, as he admitted earlier, not anywhere near his top form, coming off a string of other sponsor-related and work-related priorities in August. He was commentating at the Tour of Utah, Tour of Colorado, and most recently in Alberta. But still, that old man strength keeping him right in contention there, right near the front of that group.
Yeah, he's always got it no matter what, you know.
And yes, that was a giant soccer ball that they just raced by, as this is a soccer complex.
The Desert Breeze Soccer Complex.
Some of the thickest grass I've ever experienced in my life underneath our racers' wheels right now here. And it's, as we talked about throughout the show, it has been very wet here as well, as we're looking at Thijs right now with what's going to be about a 10-second gap, it looks like, back to Chase 1, which is... Oof. Once again, it looks like we're coming back to about 12 riders here, Nicole. Well, not really. More like 20.
Yeah, and like I said, it's really hard to establish that gap here. So for him to have this much of a lead at this point is really nice. And it's not like drafting really matters at this point in this. So if he can keep this lead, you know, it'd be unbelievable.
You know, us here in North America, obviously, we're the average fan not as familiar with Thijs, but you know why I'm not worried? Because I don't think Sven is worried. I don't think Lars is worried. I don't see the eagerness from any of those other riders really rushing to the front to try and close that gap down. So if they're confident that they can bring it back, which I think they are, I don't think this is just a game of no you chase, no you chase. I think they really are confident that this is an early move and that they can either bring him back or bridge across when they're ready to launch their attack. Still, we got 5 and a half laps here remaining, so a lot of racing still to take place.
Well, you never know, you know, other people's fitness. Sometimes they have a breakout year, so I mean, they may
Meredith Miller.
You know, they may be judging him from previous seasons, but sometimes you just never know. And that's what's really interesting about this race, is that you don't know each other's fitness. You don't know how to judge how to race against each other.
Interesting, isn't it, Nicole, when you see the two guys, and Powers is actually coming good right now, to tell you the truth. As you can see the national, is it all 3 national champions in a row right now? There you go. Actually, not quite, but that's going to be Krugoff just behind. But Powers coming up into that locomotive right now that's chasing Thijs. Looks like a group of about 8, maybe 10 now. But that's a good shot.
This is a huge gap. I don't know. It just keeps getting bigger. So
this is like watching that grass fire outside your house turning into a structure fire. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, he just keeps laying down the power, because right here, this climb that he's going up right here is so incredibly hard, because you've laid down the power on that backside and most of the course. Right here is such a struggle. And
you can see it right there,
him
Nicole,
to go up that fast and lay it down, he's still got a lot left.
Here's what I think. And I'm an expert.
Did you stay at the Holiday Inn?
Self-proclaimed. I think it's a team tactic. I think there's enough of the Telenet Fidea riders in there that they were all sort of being forced to chase. I think somebody had to go. Now, that said, I think now it's a very real threat. But I think initially that started off as maybe a move to help set up somebody else, take the pressure off the team. And you're seeing it working here, whereas, yes, he's putting down some megawatts, but there's also quite a bit of looking at each other back in the pack. Nobody is really taken. I mean, the fact that you saw Alan Krugoff be the first guy to go to the front. Now you see Lars start to turn it up. And I think,
nervous.
yeah, as soon as one of these guys realizes, okay, that's maybe a little too much, I think we're going to quickly see the pace start to quicken, and I would not be surprised to see that gap shrink very fast. Quack.
Well, and clearly,
quack.
Sven is reacting.
The stairs.
Sven is reacting right now to Lars, to tell you the truth. I think that's what's got him going now. I think your analysis was exactly right.
Yeah, and then
right.
Fidea will respond to him, and Jeremy will respond to him, and that whole group will continue. But, man, the 2 riders I love seeing in that group, obviously Anthony Clark, but Cameron Dodge, man, I keep saying it, out of Pennsylvania. The dude, he showed up earlier this year at the Transylvania Mountain Bike Epic, this 7-day mountain bike stage race. He rode okay, just continued to get faster and faster and faster throughout the season. He had a huge ride at the Mountain Bike National Championships, riding his way into the top 5 or 6, continued to back it up on the mountain bike side of things, and now, I saw you shaking your head there, Dave.
Well, I think Nicole
too much excitement here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? That's going to be one of the things that really frustrates me about cyclocross fans. I'm not a fan of heckling, and I'm definitely not a fan of throwing beer on riders. I'll never forget, and remember when Sven got off his bike and confronted that spectator in Belgium?
I was there. I watched it.
Yeah. I felt so good about the fact Like it's classic coward behavior when you're doing something like that. And when you're confronted, you say, oh, man, I didn't mean it. I was just throwing beer. I didn't know what was going on. Well, absolutely you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You were throwing. And, you know, even though it's not probably going to affect the outcome of the race, it's nonsense. It really is.
It is what it is. That's not even worth talking about. Those guys are bozos. There's 10,000 super passionate fans out here. And,
exactly.
And there's always going to be an
He won't be the first guy that had a little too much to drink in Vegas. That's for sure.
Looks like he's slowing down. I think Lars is pulling this back up. Yeah. Oh, and now Sven.
Oh, and
Ness is coming. Van der Haar is coming. You see Telenet right there sitting on the wheel, just as they should. Sean Milne, anybody? Yeah, Sean Milne right there, and now Powers. So, like I said, maybe worried a little bit, but Powers, I'm worried only because it's such a terrifying tactic to sit back like that and pick your way forward. You have to have so much confidence in the race playing out ahead of you that you'll be able to be there, that you don't have to be the guy to chase those moves down.
Burden, Driscoll, and then Mitch Hoke coming through. Mitch is Brady Capias' roommate. They live together in Boulder as well. Actually, Sean Milne just rented Alan Krugoff's house. I don't know if you heard that right there, in North Boulder Park. Right now, Boulder has like 4 guys in the top 10.
Hey, I think New England is still going to claim Sean.
We're not going to win with him.
Come on, he just got there. He did the training back in New England. Anthony Clark, anybody? How about Jeremy Powers, Western Massachusetts? That's your man coming off that Raleigh ramp, making their way into that TRP break zone. As we said, feature after feature after feature out here. And Brooke Watts, again, a mastermind of design when it comes to this course and getting these features. So Svendies continues to go with the bunny hop. It's getting faster as he learns it, one lap after the next, and Jeremy Powers moving in, Alan Krugoff in there, Ben Baird and Jamie Driscoll, haven't said his name too many times. Then we have Jonathan Page, Adam Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, he is still there, the enduro specialist, a former cyclocross, not specialist, but did many full seasons of cyclocross.
I was going to say, when you see Burden running the TRP section there, he's going faster than the guys bunny hopping.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
So then you have it's the argument: are you saving a little bit in your legs by not getting off your bike? Are you able to accelerate faster? But especially on that one where you're coming into a hill, I don't think there's much to be said for accelerating.
Oh my! Do you want to talk about accelerating?
I think I just choked on the smoke coming off that bike.
Look at this. Sven is going to wonder what that truck was that just hit him here, because Lars van der Haar has lit it up right now here at Cross Vegas. Like, he is going to go flying off of that SRAM flyover and launch himself into orbit at this kind of speed. My goodness, this bike race just got very, very dynamic. That's going to be Burden and Driscoll.
Jamie Driscoll, the Diesel, the Dangler, always in contention. You never see him until that last lap when he just pops out, and all of a sudden he's in top 5, top 10 position. But Jeremy Powers now in the front. Now it's game time. Now he has to start closing some of those gaps down. I don't think you're going to see that explosion from him like we saw from Van der Haar, but I think he's just, every lap, he's putting out a few more watts, biding his time. He's going to be in position, and I think he realizes, as everyone does here, that the early move is not going to go today. I think it's either going to be 2 to go, maybe 1 to go, and if not, you really got to be ready to play the positioning game. You got to Meredith Miller your way through those final corners, and you got to hope for a good sprint.
Hey, and once again, we're taking a look at that's going to be the SRAM flyover that they're on right now. Nicole, when you see Lars light it up like that, you got to think that he's going to be hard to beat today, don't you?
Oh yeah, if he's got that kind of power in his legs to be able to do that and attack that hard, and look at him go up those stairs, the Ridley stairs. I mean, he just destroyed those stairs. I see Jeremy likes to ride everything, so Jeremy rode those, but I think it might be more efficient to run those. But yeah, look at him. He's relentless. He's got a lot of power left in his legs, so he's going to have a great race.
I bet you Jeremy Powers is one of those kind of guys that rides his bike around in the house.
You know what? He was just over the house, and we compared sizes of our house, and he lives in the same shoebox size house as I do, so I don't know if he can.
Oh, he can.
He's got a trainer in the spare bedroom, I guarantee.
All right, so look at this now, Cole. It's
time to sit up again. So now who's off the back of this group that they're going to let back in?
It's going to be Burden and Driscoll, isn't it? I think we're going to see here.
Is Krugoff still in that? Nope.
Look at this.
There's Krugoff and Burden. So, and Driscoll. So it's old teammates all back together.
Is that Milne as well coming back in now?
No. No, Sean Milne's sitting right on the back of that.
That's
Sean Milne he's hanging on to Powers' wheel. Tim Johnson has dropped from that group. It is a whole lot of Euro loving up there in the front right now. And Jeremy Powers, Sean Milne, Jamie Driscoll. That's the American contingent there with Adam Craig all sort of hanging on right now, following rather than leading. I'd be very interested to see if one of these guys now is going to take a flyer. There's, 10 guys here. Only one of them is going to win. They don't all have the best sprint. Like I said, I think the race will be made ultimately in those last 2 laps, maybe 1 lap, but somebody here has got to go. I think we're going to see 4 laps to go as they come through the start-finish line here. We'll see on that start-finish line camera. But Ness on the front now, setting a good hard tempo, and Vanderhaar, man, every time he moves,
he's floating, Colt.
You know what he told me a few days ago? He was out training in California. He just set a new peak for 3-second wattage. I'm probably going to be wrong here, but it was something like 1,200 watts, which, okay, maybe doesn't sound like the most impressive number you've ever heard.
He weighs 45 kilo.
45 pounds. I mean, the guy he's tight. When he steps
and
on
it's all in his legs.
Yeah, you see it. When he steps on the pedals, his bike just bounces. It just goes. And Adam Craig,
you were saying earlier when you were talking about Craig,
it's the best thing about him and the worst thing about him.
He is such a comprehensive human being.
He is.
You're right.
It makes him a great person,
his greatest weakness.
And it's maybe hurt him a little bit over the years in terms of, like, an Olympic medalist on the mountain bike. He has those raw numbers to do something like that, but he'd rather grab a dollar bill off the ground ultimately than dedicate what it would take to accomplish something like that. Because he's going
rally car driving and kayaking.
I love his career.
And you know what? How can you hate on a guy for that?
Yeah. It's kind of the dream career, right? To do a little bit of everything and not have to be super serious about one thing and so focused. It's kind of a dream career.
I'm with you. I have a lot of respect for that man, no question. And, oh, man, Sven back on the front with Lars. We're sorting this one out. We really are. I mean,
yeah, these are your 2 favorites now.
Yeah, and there they are. I mean, that's the Ali and the Frazier of this fight that we're looking at right now.
I want to point out that Jeremy Powers just keeps moving up.
I know.
He was way back there, and he
I don't
just
think he's been
inches
passed.
away.
Right. And he did this last year, Nicole, as well. I mean, I think you touched on that, Cole.
Yeah.
Is that he never missed a selection without doing any more work than anyone else. It's really tactically astute from Jeremy Powers right now. I have a feeling that Powers is going to go on this run over the next 3 years. We're going to start seeing top 10s, top 5s at World Cups. We're right on the verge of that.
He's done it already. It's just a matter of tying it together. I think this year he's made that big commitment to really go after that. You see, I think that might have been Sean Milne moving up the outside there, but everybody fans across. So indeed, we will now see 4 laps ago. Hey, I'm Adam Craig. I'm going to go to the front of this bike race. It is time to move. Keep this in mind. Adam Craig isn't coming off a season of road racing, Cameron Dodge. He's not coming off a season of cross country. He's coming off a season of essentially downhill. He's racing enduro. I know there's quite a bit of power involved, but ultimately the guy's been practicing his wheelies and his tail whips, and here he is at the front of maybe the biggest cyclocross race on North American soil. An unbelievable talent, period.
Absolutely. I mean, he was gifted with an engine that, it's embedded in his DNA to be a fantastic athlete.
Jeremy Powell, I've heard Jeremy say the same thing, that maybe the most talented bike racer he's ever ridden with or knows about. I mean, you got a guy like Tom Danielson, who as a young rider showed incredible talent, went on to a career on the road. But Adam Craig, in terms of, in terms of that raw potential.
For me, Colt, Todd Wells.
Oh, yeah. No, without question.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's such a fantastically talented guy. And, he's winning Leadville Trail 100s. He's winning cross nationals. He's
short tracks.
Won
a fair number of road races, too. Back on the front now, that's going to be Boulder Cycle Sport, Sean Milne.
So Boulder Cycle Sport is a bike shop that they have 2 locations, actually 3 now. I think they just bought the old
Peloton.
Right, exactly. But so they've got really Middle Boulder, North Boulder, and South Boulder all covered on Broadway. They're a team that has, on any given year, Nicole, what do you think? Maybe 75, 100 people that ride for that team, all the way from 10-year-olds, all of the Robson kids and the Keller kids, and then you've got the Masters and Kristen Weber.
And Pete Weber, and then
Greg
Keller.
Right.
Yeah, Greg Keller. And
interesting note here, just speaking of the Keller kids, Greg Keller, one of the finest minds in all of cyclocross racing, led me in on a little inside scoop here, and that's the rumors going on Twitter right here. Word that possibly Sven Nys may be getting DQ'd for taking a feed before lap 2, which would be super unfortunate to see, but I think if I'm remembering back to that feed, it was indeed.
Okay, if that's true,
we're not going to know until after the race.
Well, if these officials are going to DQ you, that would be criminal to let you continue to race for another 45 minutes after the incident occurs and then take you out of the results and take you out of the prize money. If you're going to make him disqualify him, you need to pull him out of the race now, or actually,
or hold him,
or
hold him. And I've had that experience in the pit where I've been in first and been held.
You hate to see him, go down right now and take Powers out of the race. If he's out of the race, he's out of the race.
He's affecting the outcome of the bike race by letting him continue to race right now.
Oh man, the conversation in the commissioner's tent right now has got to be insane. It's got to be insane because no one wants to see that. I think everybody in attendance would say let it slide. But a rule's a rule. We'll see how they play that out. We'll definitely keep an ear to the pavement and see how that goes. But right now, he's in this race, and he's not thinking anything other than the first place finish.
And I guarantee you he has no idea that we're thinking about this or talking about this right now. So he's racing to win. Taking a look at Van der Haar up on the front here. It's amazing. We talked about the fact, Nicole, that in the years past, we've seen this group as big as 10, 12 riders with 3 to go. Voila. Here you go.
Yeah, this is a huge group with 3 to go. And I don't think I've seen this big of a group. Usually it's a lot more strung out by now.
No, I'm with you. Cole, have you ever seen a group this big at a UCI C1 this late in the race? Does this speak to the fact that we're racing on grass here in Vegas? How do you explain that?
I've seen it here in Vegas.
Right.
Other than that, I think Lars Van der Haar, they're just motioning. He's going to take a drink as well. So it just speaks. It is
indeed. Sven, is it cool?
It is very hot here, but it's also very, very dry. I mean, these guys come from, racing all winter, very wet conditions in Belgium. So you see a lot of coughing out there, a lot of guys reaching for the bottle, more so than you'll see in just about any other cross race out there. But yeah, a huge race right now. The tactics have got to be out the window at this point.
16 guys, Colt. 16 guys in this break.
I'm really surprised we're not seeing more moves off the front. A guy like Ben Bairden or a guy like Jamie Driscoll. Like I said, only one guy is going to win. Only 3 guys are going to be on the podium. If you're Sean Milne, do you have that much confidence that you're going to be there for the selection at the end, or do you have to maybe get with somebody, try and sneak away here? I don't see Van der Haar chasing down Jamie Driscoll at this point in the race, or a guy like Sean Milne for that matter, or heck, Cameron Dodge.
Look at Krugoff
Alan Krugoff.
Yep.
So I think somebody here, it's getting down to game time. You got to put your cards on the table. Nobody cares if you're 10th or 8th at Cross Vegas. I'd rather see you go for it and maybe give up a couple positions later on.
Do you have direct communication with Krugoff? Is that what's going on here?
They have direct communication with God this evening.
So.
I mean, between the way Meredith Miller and Alan Krugoff are riding,
that's
Jeremy
Powers.
Looks like Powers is moving up. Yep.
I mean, you got to think Sven Nys is looking over and saying to himself, who the hell is this Noosa guy? Like, who are you? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, we did a number of pre-race interviews with the Europeans, and we always, which U.S., which North American rider are you most worried about? And without fail, they say Jeremy Powers and some others.
But they all know Tim Johnson as well.
They all know Tim Johnson, but I think everyone realizes that at this point in the season, in this particular race, everybody's eyes, those Europeans, I think they're all going to be watching Powers. They know, it's the same thing in Europe. When the race comes to the Czech Republic, when the race comes to, the Netherlands, it's Van der Haar who really is going to get up for that big day. I think they're all expecting Powers here on home soil, which is the USA. I think they're all looking for him to maybe make the move as far as the North Americans.
That's a great look. Shimano and SRAM both supporting this event, which we really appreciate. Both of our flyovers. Nice to see that the world's 2 largest component makers are able to come together to support one bike race. I think that's really cool. A lot of times you'll see exclusivity in these kind of sponsorships. So, more love for Shimano and SRAM because they both make great stuff. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. And, for them both to have the same features is pretty cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
They both make shifters. They both make hubs, derailleurs. Now they both make flyovers.
They make derailleurs?
They do. They're really fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to just keep saying the name Cameron Dodge because I think everybody needs to know it.
So tell us what you know about Cameron Dodge, because this is a new name, really.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
And that's what I'm saying. Even a guy like Alan Krugoff, you're shocked to see him doing as well as he is, but you really are not. He's had good days like this. Cameron Dodge out of Pennsylvania, an unbelievable talent on the mountain bike. I believe he works construction. I believe he didn't even ride his bike for like 4 months over the winter. He's just finding out now this year more than any other than on the mountain bike and now on the cyclocross bike. Hey, guess what? I'm a world-class athlete. Maybe I guys should think about doing this a little more full time. And I would love to. It's a guy like him who he made his way out to Vegas, but I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles to find support to get his way out there. So Cameron Dodge, learn the name, remember the name as Adam Craig launches through there. Jake Wells is in there, but that's a guy that needs to get signed up, full-time pro contract like an Alan Krugoff, and let him develop, because he is absolutely a superstar of the future. And Lucas Winterberg right there.
But also Mitch Hoke is still there as well. You know Mitch well from the mountain bike world. He's a very popular young man, and that's going to be Adam Craig.
This is the move I was waiting for. Adam Craig is not going to out-sprint Lars van der Haar, but maybe, just maybe, they're going to let him go. And as Mike Sampson pointed out on Twitter, some of these enduro guys, a guy like Jared Graves, second at cross-country mountain bike national championships in Australia, these guys have some pretty massive power.
When a honey badger runs across Adam Craig, it backs down. It's like, you know what, I don't want any part of that.
To Justin Lindeen.
No, not the honey badger. Right, exactly.
I think this is a testament to enduro racing.
Oh, yeah.
And what kind of athletes it produces.
Don't sell those guys short.
Well, it's not just downhill racing. You know, they got to go up. Somebody was telling me that the last race they did, they had to climb 8,000 feet, and they had 4 different stages, and you know, it was unbelievable. And it's like, you know, so don't discount Adam just because he's doing enduro. I think it's a positive.
Colt, everybody is running the TRP brake zone now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just that's how you do business.
The fatigue is in your legs, but also I think everyone's realized, you know what, it's just faster.
Yeah.
It's fast. I think maybe it has something to do with the soggy earth. As we said, a lot of rain here earlier in the week on Sunday and Monday. As you're coming down between those barriers, it's really hard to get that spring, that explosive pop to get back up over that second one. So they're having to slow down a bit. You saw Troy Wells get caught up there early in the race with a big crash. So yeah, definitely going on foot right now as we start to whittle things down. Adam Craig, that attack has been brought back in, but still stretching. It has stretched out the group to get there, and Adam's not sitting up. He's fully committed at this point. He's going to try, if he can't get away by himself, he's going to try to get away in a small group, and right now he's the only North American rider in that first group. And then again, here comes Powers. Just patience, 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 showing the maturity of a 2-time national champion now. He's got the monkey off his back. He's won Vegas. He's been top 10 at the World Cup. He's not trying to get a career result. He's trying to further his career.
He also has built himself a very nice network of supporters in this sport. And, you know, Powers doesn't have a lot to worry about besides racing his bike these days. As we look at Craig on the front, so at this point now, it looked to me like Ben and Jamie Driscoll were coming back into this group again here. Let's take a look at the tail end of what's the ultimate selection of the day. Man, gotta love Adam Craig. That name didn't come right off our tongues when we were talking about favorites today. And there he is right now.
You know, I have to say, I've seen Jake Wells up there too. He is at the tail end of that group, but he's having an amazing ride this year.
You know, and Jake Wells was one of those guys who got to the second tier and just never, he kind of plateaued a couple of years ago. Cole, I think you'd agree, you know, kind of got into that, like, he could ride his way at the C1s into top 15s and ride his way at the C2s into top 10s. He's having a much better ride here today.
There he
comes
right
there,
here.
just sitting on the wheel there with, he's got Ben Baird and Jonathan Page hanging on the back of that group. But you look at a guy like Jake Wells, I hear what you're saying, but for some guys, there is just a ceiling. You know, it's not everybody can race their way to national champion or world champion. So I think Jake Wells, I think what we saw is he was able to get to his highest level. He realized that was not going to be a top 3 rider on a week in, week out basis. And he realized that, you know what, I got a family, I have a job, and I can balance this. And you see, it really hasn't hurt him. He's still able to make it happen, do big things on the big days.
Jake Wells wouldn't have done this 2 years ago.
No.
I think he was 13th in Vegas when he was racing for the Mafia team maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
He's had big results over the years. He just, I don't see him. I don't think if you gave him $100,000 in a full-time career, I don't think he makes that jump to a podium position regularly. That's no disrespect. It's just, you know, different guys have different limiters. Where someone
let me bounce that off Nicole. I'd rather talk to Nicole.
Thank you.
We love Colt. So, but honestly, like, okay, you got to realize that Lars and all of the Telenet Fidea guys, and obviously Sven, they're what Colt is talking about. They go to Majorca. They train there. They're making into the hundreds of thousands of euros a year. If you gave a guy guy like Krugoff that kind of money and let him just race his bike, how much of a difference would that make, do you think? I mean, it depends on the athlete, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And, Jake has family also, and so that's another factor. It's the money, but then it's also your responsibilities to family and that kind of thing. But if you have that time to be able to just focus on riding and nothing else, the mental clarity that it gives you is huge to be able to use your resources and dedicate everything to your bike. Not having to worry about money. And a lot of women, we struggle to get all that money. And so, there's a million different things going on in your mind. But gosh, if you can just think about bike racing and that's it, and coming back and putting your legs up, and it's a whole different ballgame. Sure. It really is.
Colt, I'm going to give you about 100,000 euro. Can we get you in this field?
Oh, so I will race in this field.
You have, actually.
Come on, Dave. No, but yeah. And again, Jake Wells, I could not be a bigger fan. It's absolutely no disrespect.
I understand.
It's just to point out that there's freaks of nature like Adam Craig, and then there's really everybody else. And when you have a family, there's just certain priorities. And I think that there's very, very few guys that can make it at the top level of this sport.
Adam Craig could do this if all you fed him was applesauce and graham crackers for 2 years. You know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that one. Yeah.
All right, it's business time. And
look at Powers. He's breathing through his nose.
Yeah, let's
now.
Flash back to my worrisome thoughts.
He's fine.
If nobody else knows what he's doing, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Trust in Powers.
I believe it. You know, I told you he's just moving up steadily and slowly. And like you said, he has not lost a place. He attacked over the Shimano flyover and got a few places I saw there. And so I think he's right where he wants to be. He's being very patient.
So obviously Nicole is the expert here, Colt. After the women's race, what did we learn? So when you
shut up and let Nicole talk.
Exactly. When you take in,
shut up, Dave. Hashtag shut up, Colt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hashtag more Nicole.
So Nicole, what do you think out of this group? Is this going to be like? So we both, Colt and I, were talking about Lars at the start of this race. I still believe in Lars. I don't know about Colt. Won't speak for him.
I'm still on that bandwagon.
You know, Lars looks really good, and obviously Sven looks really good. But I wouldn't discount Powers. He looks like he's pacing it out, and I don't know. I believe in him. I'm a big Powers fan, so I think he knows what he's doing, and he's timing it just right.
And just noting there off the back, Jonathan Page, a very strong ride, but he's another one of those riders. He's got goals that stretch the whole season. Dave, we got in a lot of trouble for talking about Alan Krugoff having a great ride while Page got dropped. But again, I think to clarify that a little bit, Page is an incredible bike racer, but now so is Alan Krugoff.
Perfect. Absolutely. You know, if you're going back to Nationals last year, that was never any disrespect to Page.
Yeah. We were just trying to pile a compliment on a guy like Alan Krugoff, saying
absolutely.
That's a guy like everyone knows. We were talking about the World Championships. Everyone knows Page should go to Worlds, but Alan Krugoff needs somebody to stand up for him and say, "Hey, look at this guy over here. He's 29 years old. He's 30 years old."
At the end of the day, they both went.
Yeah.
They both went to that Worlds. You know, and so I'm with you 100%. I actually think that Page doesn't get enough credit as an American legend. He's sort of been, because he spent so much time in Belgium, really before the whole internet cycling phenomenon all connected. Which really in my mind has been the last 5 years or so. That the internet has been around a lot longer than that. But really, the modern era of cyclocross began 5 years ago.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
Okay. What kind of move is this?
You are insane.
What kind of move is this, though? Is this a...
It's a tester. It's a tester.
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it a positioning move, or is there some power to be laid down here? Now
he looks like he's testing it. He's testing it.
Now we go.
I think he's going to say, who can go with me here?
Take how fast you think they're going right now and multiply it by 3. This is such a deceiving course. It looks like they're not going fast, but check that SRM, check that power meter, check that Stages power meter. That's the only power meter I would ride on my bike. And these guys are laying it down right now.
Jeremy Powers is attacking with old school fury out there right now. Help us out, Colt. Second wheel there. That's going to be Sven's teammate there.
Is that the other Sven?
That is, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
That is going to be...
wow, that's impressive for him, huh?
Sven Van Everman.
So it looks like
this is a great ride for him.
Well, and I think Powers is the last American standing right now. We're going to take a look at this group. It's going to be, outside of Krugoff. My goodness, Alan Krugoff is just riding his way into the history books here today. So Page on the front, Powers on the front. And then, let's see, is it going to be a group of 5?
Yeah.
It is.
And so how many laps do we have to go, Dave?
We have, it's going to be 2 to go. Isn't it the next time we have them around?
I believe so, yeah.
And we will double check that.
It's 1.5 or 2.5 laps to go. I believe they're at 2.5 at this point as they make their way through the movers and shakers. Jeremy Powers throwing a little bit it's all right.
Some words.
Oh, you know
not
what?
Very nice words.
You just pissed off Jeremy Powers is what you did right there. And you know what? Adrenaline counts for something.
It really does. Although, Dave,
good and bad.
I don't know what business you have right in that section. It's very tricky. I'll give it to him because he was in the lead. He's done it before, so at least if he makes the mistake, he's not getting dropped. He's causing things. But that's a difficult section to try and find an advantage by riding. But man, if there's anybody that's going to do it, it's Jeremy. He rides everything.
Yeah.
If you think about it tactically, though, if you're going to do that move, you're going to stuff other guys up if you have a problem.
And I didn't get a great look at it. There are definitely some words exchanged. Hard to say whether he botched that or whether somebody ran in. It looked like somebody maybe ran into him from behind. As you see, the runners maybe carrying a little more speed, dismounting, coming into his back wheel, setting because a guy like Powers, he can ride that stuff by himself, no problem. But interesting to see as he comes in the future laps now. Does that bobble his confidence at all?
You know, Nicole, it's not uncommon, is it, if you've got a guy making a move like that, just to give him a tiny little hip check or a tiny little bump to throw him off his game?
Well, you know, you're so tight there. It's hard to be able to expect to ride it and ride it clean when other people are around you. And, you know, there are European racers here, and the Europeans don't play around. You know, they are more aggressive, and they're not just going to give that to you.
Absolutely. And it can be so subtle, Colt.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now we're taking a look. Is it Powers back on front?
It is. And correction, guys, that is Sven Van Turnhout. I'm getting all my Belgian names jumbled up here, but it's been a long day of Cross Vegas.
Colt, you're doing a fantastic job.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Yeah, you're okay. We love you.
All right, national champion, national champion, national champion.
Tell that Fidea.
Alan Krugoff, Jamie Driscoll, Ben Burden, my personal favorite.
I mean, there really are. They're as excited as you are to see the best riders in the world out there. You're just as excited to see these Alan Krugoffs and Cameron Dodges. I mean, these are the rides that's going to launch a career. A guy like Cameron Dodges, you're going to be able to say, I remember that guy from Cross Vegas. Give him a contract. Give him some start money. Fly him to my race. This is a career-building day for a guy like Sean Milne, a guy like Alan Krugoff, even a guy like Jake Wells. I mean, this is a result to hang your hat on at the end of your career, to be able to show this coverage to your kids and say, look, I rode with the best in the world.
Yeah,
this is how you break through. It really is.
I'm watching Jeremy on the front, and my hope is that he's not putting too much out there. You know, that he's got a lot in the tank, because he seems to be pulling a lot, and he seems to be pretty aggressive at the front, and he wants to stay there.
How bizarrely familiar is it to see that Noosa kit tagged onto the back of this group right now? In no way am I saying that Alan Krugoff is going to win this bike race. He has already won for himself here today by riding in this group.
It just gets you so excited for the rest of this season to have a guy like that. If he can carry this momentum, to have a new name, not a new name, but if he can regularly compete in that Trebone, Johnson, Powers group with Bairden and the likes of the others, and he's always in the 5th position, but this might be the year, and I think it is, that we see that jump.
Last year it was Driscoll that beat him at Nationals. They went into the line 4th and 5th together. Tim Johnson, who is going to be coming in undercooked right now, no question.
This is Sven
and
Van
it is
Everman.
now 1 to go.
So now 1 lap to go. It is time for the team tactics. Sven Van Everman goes to the front. He's got Sven Nys in there as well. And I believe we still have Simon Zahner up in that group as well. That is your Swiss rider, bib number 15. So he's still hanging strong. Haven't mentioned his name too many times, but that lead group, it's about to get messy. It's about to get very messy here with 1 lap to go.
Does the winner of this bike race come across the line alone? I don't think so.
I don't think there's a possibility for that to happen.
Right, yeah.
I think there's too many teammates here to chase moves down, and I don't think there's a single guy that can ride. The only guys that could maybe ride someone off their wheel
is that guy right there, Vanderhaar, and he can't do it.
I know. I don't see it happening. Yeah. I think, again, like I said, I don't think there's anybody left in this group that thinks they have to make a Hail Mary move at this point. I think even a guy like Krugoff is going to try to just hang on those wheels and position himself in that sprint. It's not really about horsepower from 500 meters to 200 meters. It's all about positioning. It's going to be very, very tricky, very tactical here.
What kind of pop does Vanderhaar have?
Oh, it's insane. I mean, we talked about it. I think it was his max 3 seconds was something like 24 watts per kilo. I mean, it's unbelievable. When they come slow out of that last corner, if he can take somebody wide from a really slow speed and bring it up.
Yeah. This is the moment. Yeah, this is the moment, Nicole.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen this?
Sven rode over those barriers with the TRP zone and now into the focus, and he made a huge move right there because Lars had to get off, and he bobbled a little bit, and you can see. You can see the gap that it made, and now Sven is really going to attack.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Behind the Barriers. You are looking at the cannibal from Ball. This is Sven Nys, and this is it. He's all in right now. Colt, I say he does it. I now say he does it.
Look at that. Look at that speed.
We've been watching this move for the last 15 years, and it takes a very special bike racer to bring that back. Lars Vanderhaar is a very special. Down. That was one of the Telenet Fidea riders that may have been ties. I'm not sure. But Power's starting to reel in Vanderhaar maybe a little bit. Still a long way to go on this course. There are some big climbs coming up, relatively speaking, some very power-sucking climbs as they make their way through the movers and shakers sandpit. But all action right now, eyes are going to be on the front of this bike race. It is Belgian, the national champion from Holland, and then Jeremy Powers flying the sole flag now for the United States of America in their bronze medal position.
For Powers, a third here, a bronze medal, is as good as a win because it's definitely.
It's almost as good.
Well, maybe not as good as. But you know what I'm saying. He's not only top American, he's going to be heads and tails above everyone except for Alan Kruger. No, good.
Over the SRAM flyover, he laid it down there.
I thought he was going to launch into
I love watching him. He's got the power, he's got the skill, the grace. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is the Michael Jordan of bike racing that we're looking at right now. I mean, this guy not only does it with authority, he also does it with this touch, a velvet touch. It really is.
Powers smooth through those steps this time around. You know the difference between Michael Jordan and Sven Nys? Michael Jordan won 6 titles.
Sven's won 2.
Sven Nys, only a 2-time world champion. If there's any, I mean, you got to really dig to find a knock on the guy who's won everything there is to win. But I think if there's one thing that kind of haunts his career, it's only 2 world championship titles in a career that he's really dominated for more than a decade now.
Everyone knows Scottie Pippen was the best bowl player anyways, right?
Horace Grant.
I'm going to get back to Sven here.
Here we go. This is it. The rider over this flyover on the last lap was always going to be my winner. Sven now with so much daylight between them. I think it's very safe. I want to see this action now for second and third. How close has Powers gotten to that wheel of Lars Vanderhaar? The gap opening up. So very interesting, Dave. I would not have thought we'd see 3 riders come across solo.
3. Yep, exactly.
And to be honest, Sven is not even in the same zip code as Lars Vanderhaar right now.
He's in Reno.
Know. Wait, didn't you call Lars? Didn't you call Lars?
Get out of here.
Okay, you know what?
It's not fair. She has a much closer perspective.
She must have some crystal ball or something.
I'm psychic.
It's been such a pleasure, Nicole.
Yeah, it's been great. I've had a lot of fun.
Well, and it looks like you got this one. I mean, at this point now, they've already gone by that sector where we've seen riders slipping out their rear wheel. And besides, Sven doesn't slip out a rear wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy...
that's the final corner that we're looking at. I mean, I highly doubt he's going to have a mistake on his own with nobody pushing him. But then, I mean, just flash back to that explosive burst of power we saw from Lars Vanderhaar. Can he find that on this last half of a lap? I don't think he can, but... No.
Well, and you know what? I got to say, so Vanderhaar second. This is going to go down as a very, very encouraging Cross Vegas for Jeremy Powers. This will be the best 3rd place he's ever had in his career.
I think so, and he says he's starting slow.
Yeah,
I mean, this doesn't look like he's starting slow.
Yeah.
So if this is his slow,
this is the new slow,
I want to see what his fast is like.
We're in good shape for 2014, that's for sure. Powers is going to get that elusive top 5, maybe even a podium at a Worlds here in the next few years.
And keep in mind, this was the first year Jeremy Powers became a full-time professional cyclocross racer. He did not race a pro road season with Jelly Belly, so a lot of question marks coming into this first year. No one knows really how that transition is going to go, how the fitness is going to come, but clearly he's brought the cross fitness into September. He's ready to go all season long. Jumping around here, that is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, your Belgian national champion. He's about to run into some lap traffic. I think they're going to get him through just in time.
Lars is making some gains here, though.
Has anyone ever won Cross Vegas back-to-back in the event's history? I don't believe so.
I don't know if I don't think Trebon did it. No, I don't think so.
So here we go. We're going to see that here in about a minute now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's seconds away. It's done. It is your Belgian national champion, your former world champion, maybe the greatest cyclocross racer of all time. Ladies and gentlemen at home, clap your hands.
Yeah.
Don't be too cool. Everybody.
Yeah.
Put them together. This man right here just put on a clinic of how to win a bike race.
Love it.
Tell you what, events are judged by the quality of their champions. Cross Vegas is world class.
Lars van der Haar, second.
Oh, great ride from Jeremy.
Not yet Grasshopper. His time will come though. Lars van der Haar is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Powers with the bronze. And then no, that's not ties. That's going to be that's going to be 24 for Telenet. So Seth Van Torenhout coming through there in 5th.
And Colt, we're going to let you run off and go grab an interview.
Interviews, guys. I'll join you back here in a bit.
Well, so as Colt heads on over to grab a word with Sven, that's another fantastic race here today, Nicole.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I wasn't jumping up and down at the end because it was obvious that Sven had it. Wasn't as
little different than the women's finale.
Yeah, a little different than the women's, but wow, what a race! There were a lot of moves in the race. There were a lot of changing of the guard at the front. Few crashes here and there, so it was certainly an exciting race.
What surprised me was how many guys, 16 guys, still in that group of 2 to go. You just don't see that. I think we touched on why that is here across Vegas, but ultimately the cream always does rise to the top in this sport. And,
yeah, I'm wondering, and then there's Jake Wells finishing, so I'm wondering where Alan Krugoff finished in that.
I'm going to guess that he ended up around 8th, but we will.
Let's see.
I was hoping we could see here, but we will check back in on that. Clearly, another one of those rides for Krugoff that, it has to be incredibly encouraging for him to start this Noosa team with Meredith Miller, having her get the win. I'm going to say he had to have been top 10.
Yeah, and there was, great showing by the Telenet Fidea team. It was nice to have them over here. So they had great rides also. It looks like Jonathan Page just finished.
That's actually the event director, Brooke Watts, there with the black hat and white shirt. Brooke loves bike racing as much as anyone I've ever met. And he is awfully excited, I'm sure, to see Sven taking another win.
And there's Colt and his mustache.
It's interesting. I don't know when he started growing that. That was a bit of a surprise when I ran into him.
Yeah. It's always something with him, though, isn't it?
Exactly. It's these hipster kids.
I know.
Yeah. So now the question becomes, it looks like that was a false alarm about the DQing.
Okay. Well, good. We didn't want to.
We're not. No one
pass that rumor along. Yeah.
Oh, it wouldn't be the first time that we had a Twitter internet rumor going on. And I think now would be a great time to throw it to Colt McElwain. Colt, sounds like you got the winner, Sven Nys, with you.
All right, guys, we are here with second place on the line, but we're still hearing word coming in. It sounds like, Sven Nys may have been disqualified for taking a feed, I believe, before 2 laps to go. We'll get official word on that, but either way, second place, first place, if by disqualification, but a great ride for you.
Yeah, I saw Sven going in when we just did 1 lap, so I didn't know what he was doing, but yeah, maybe not so smart, so we'll see what comes out. But he was a fair winner anyway. He was strong, and I tried to get in front of him before the jumps, before the barriers, but he still got ahead of me, and I couldn't close the gap anymore. So yeah, I am a bit disappointed, but happy too. It was really hard, and I did not feel good at all, but yeah, it was difficult.
So again, we're here with Lars van der Haar, the Dutch national champion. Tell me just about the experience here. I mean, how you do here is almost secondary. It's such a big event for you to come to the United States to race here on American soil. What did you think about the event? What do you think about the crowds? What was your experience like?
Well, if they're gonna keep throwing beer, I'm not gonna come back, because there were some assholes there keep throwing beer, and I was getting really angry about that. It smelled and it came in my nose, and that's not cycling, that's not cyclocross, so please stop with that.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for joining us. Solid ride on the day.
Thank you.
All right, guys, take a second here. I believe we are going to get the next interview coming up very shortly.
Lars van der Haar, die wint deze.
They wouldn't let us do one.
Well, what a day to be, well, I should say evening here in Las Vegas. We kind of start as the sun goes down, and they're estimating somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 people out here today watching Cross Vegas, and I think all of them were treated to, you know, fantastic racing. It really was. We have been doing this since 2006, and this edition will go down as the most special, without a doubt. So Colt had a chance, it looked like, to grab a word with some of the stars. They're going to start the podium presentation here shortly, and we'll look at our top 3 women and men here today. There's no question that that women's race was the race of the day, race of the year, possibly here at Cross Vegas in 2014, with Meredith Miller as a former U.S. national road champion. That would have been her previous biggest win. What she did here tonight has to be more special. Well, when she won that road championship, that was back in Bend, Oregon. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it back over to Colt. Sounds like he's got Jeremy Powers with him. Colt, go ahead.
We're here with U.S. national champion, third across the line. Sounds like second place in the history books, though, this afternoon. Jeremy Powers, tell me about that experience. That was an insane Cross Vegas.
Definitely, yeah. The course made pretty serious changes, and it kept it together. You saw it in the women's race, and then you saw it in our race. It's a lot of sections and where you could go hard, get neutralized just because of the corners. So I don't know. I felt good out there tonight. I tried to stir it up with 2 to go and just give it a good hit, and you know, Sven went away, and yeah, me and Lars were chasing, and he jumped the barriers with a lot of finesse and a lot of speed, and he got a couple seconds and then opened it up on that back section. It was send me home to jump on my barriers. I got to work on my barrier hopping again.
Yeah, tell me about that bobble on the stairs. I saw some words exchanged. It seemed like that kind of disrupted your rhythm when you were trying to get away. What happened there?
No, it's just the heat of the moment. You know, Sven's teammate just kind of didn't know I was was riding the stairs, and I slowed down. I scrubbed some speed to be able to hit him. It was just easier on my legs at this point, and you know, I was just trying to. I was taking my momentum on the top after I got back going, and those guys were getting back on their bike. So it was about the same with regards to how fast it was, and he just didn't see me and kind of just threw me off my line, and I smashed into one of the barriers. So, hey, what are you doing? But it was all good. It's just racing.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Well, Nicole, how's Ben doing?
He's doing great. He's happy with his race. You know, he said it was really hard. He said he had a couple bike changes. So, you know, he wished that, you know, he didn't have some of that stuff going on, but, you know, he's pretty happy with his race.
It was interesting hearing Jeremy talk there about the incident that occurred out there. I know you're running back over
about the barrier hopper.
Yeah, and, you know, I think it's pretty much what we thought, in that, you know, he was trying to set that up a little bit differently than the Telnet rider was, and, you know, they bump and they have an exchange of words, and then, you know, you get back to racing.
Yeah, he seemed cool with it, and yeah,
no doubt.
He's got to be happy with third place.
There's no doubt. Hey, Colt, welcome back.
That was intense.
I bet. We were just saying that Powers has got to be happy with that ride today.
I think when it all settles down, when he looks at how this race went, and so I don't know if you guys heard over the interviews, but it will go down as second place.
You're kidding.
Whoa.
Yeah, so these guys didn't actually hear the interviews going on the start line there, but Sven Nys officially disqualified for taking a feed before 2 laps to go. So Lars van der Haar, the winner on paper.
Are you gonna? You're
Jeremy
gonna gloat
Powers,
now,
the
aren't you?
Medal. No, because nobody, even Lars. I told Lars when I got him for the interview. I said, "Did you hear he's disqualified?" And his first thought was, you know, you first saw him kind of crack a smile, and then it instantly turned into nobody wants to win that way.
No, and like you said, you know, why maybe didn't they pull him out of the race? Because then what that does is it kind of, for Lars now, he can't enjoy that.
I am stunned.
Me too. Me too.
It's, you know what?
I am.
The rule's the rule. No, you can't argue it. I agree. I would have loved to see the officials turn their head, but I think with all the attention on Cross Vegas, with the live TV, there was too many people that saw it happen. I mean, we called it out right as he went through there. I know that rule, and it didn't strike me right away. But enough people saw it happen that you can't not enforce it.
How does Sven not know that rule?
Well, yeah,
he does.
He's kicking himself right now. That's for sure. You know, he wasn't counting his laps.
You know
obviously,
what? I mean, they do that start lap, which is not always a thing in Europe. So that maybe had something to do with it in his mind. I've gone across the start finish line X number of times. But Lars even said, I saw him go in there, and I thought, well, what is he doing?
Would this have happened in Europe? Well, it wouldn't be 90 degrees.
No.
I think they would have turned their heads.
I do too.
I think they would have.
But again, we all want to turn the fans of the sport. We want to turn our heads. Obviously, the fans of Sven Nyswan turns their head. But if you're a Lars van der Haar supporter and you see that happen, and I understand it. Nobody likes it, but it is the right call. It's not the right call in the spirit of the law, but it's the right call.
I bet he's just devastated.
I'm having a hard time with this one. I really am.
I know.
You know, and
I understand the predicament. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, I would never. If I were the enforcer, I would not enforce it.
Here's why I wouldn't have done it, because cyclocross is a growing sport in America, and having a guy like Sven come here is a very, very big deal for this country. And when you disqualify Sven, there's a decent chance that, poor Brooke Watts.
There's a backlash.
There is.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a decent chance that he says, you know what, maybe I don't race in America anymore if they're going to pull these ticky-tack little things on me. But as you said, it's the rule. I sure wouldn't want to be that official.
It's the absolute worst position to be in. Guys, stay tuned. We're going to get more official word on this here in just a minute. We have awards coming off. We have a lot more analysis and breakdown. But real quick, we're just going to go to a few words from our sponsors.
Rival 22 brings 11-speed rear shifting and yaw front shifting. That's RAS-free shifting through all 22 gears. And with a Y-Fly, you can handle a cassette of 1128, 1130, 1132. It has at least 5 different braking options, from hydraulic disc brake to hydraulic rim brake calipers, cable-actuated rim brake calipers, cable-actuated disc brakes, and cable-actuated cantilever brakes. Rival 22 is a new group from SRAM, purpose-built for the sportif rider, the gravel rider, cyclocross racer, just about anybody.
This is why I ride my bike. This is why I recycle. This is why I reuse. This is why I take the bus. This is why I compost. This is why I bring my own bag.
My name is Jeremy Powers. I ride for Team Rapid Focus. I ride SRAM Force CX1 with Hydro R.
A 1x drivetrain consists of a X-Sync chainring and an X-Horizon rear derailleur that's a clutch-equipped rear derailleur, and a left-hand control that's simply a brake lever. The X-Sync chainring always keeps the chain on. It's designed to hold the chain rather than to shift the chain.
What we're promoting to the market is the opportunity to clean up your bike, have the right gear range for your type of riding you're doing, not give things up, but create a different level of performance and a different way to ride your bike.
Welcome back, everyone. They're getting the award ceremonies going here as, wow, a very, very interesting finale there to the men's race with Sven being disqualified for going into the pit and taking on a bottle with less than, 2 laps into the race. I don't think any of us saw that coming, to tell you the truth, Colt. You're right. That's the letter of the law, and the officials are going to hold him to that. But
Here
I
we
guess
go,
now
the
it's time to
women's
celebrate.
podium.
Yeah, it's going to be the women that we're bringing up first here.
Yeah, I think we're going to toss it over to the podium.
Congratulations, Catherine. She's also the reigning Canadian cyclocross champion. Here's Alan Goetz for Wickworks. And now, without any further ado, we'll bring up our top 3 this evening. Riding for Trek Factory Racing out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, your bronze medalist, Katie Compton. The silver medalist rides out of Truckee, California for Luna Pro Cycling, Katarina Nash.
This is Colt. I'm here.
And the winner of Football Cross Vegas out of Fort Collins, Colorado, riding for Pepper Palace Pro Cycling, Noosa Youngert, riding out of Fort Collins, Colorado, Meredith Miller.
This is your podium. The U.S. national champion there, riding for Trek in the Stars and Stripes, the 10-time national champion, Katie Compton. Second place on the day, your 5-time Olympian, I believe, for the Luna Chicks, Katarina Nash. And then the shocker of the year of my life, Meredith Miller.
I don't know.
I'm not so shocked. Come on.
When she came across that finish line, nothing has ever been more exciting. I don't mean shocker as in,
It was a pretty big upset
I
to
just
win.
mean shocked my heart.
Okay.
I love it.
In like
I
an,
love
oh
it.
my God, she really did it. It's unbelievable. And on such a, I mean, even if you win nationals, there's not 1,000 reporters. There's not 20,000 of the most influential people in the cycling industry.
While you were away, I was talking with Nicole about that, about the fact that the road national championships pales in comparison to the amount of prestige that comes along with winning Cross Vegas.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
And I
most
don't know if you guys
definitely.
heard in the interview I did earlier, but based on my statistical calculations here, the first woman on North American soil to ever beat both Katie Compton and Katarina Nash in the same race. It's never been done. We said Elle Anderson last year beat Katie Compton on North American soil, but in that same race, it was actually Katarina Nash who won. That was day 2 in Providence last year. So Meredith Miller, I mean, again, over the last 10 years, it speaks to, this wasn't just a big ride for her this year. This was the ride of the decade.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the season holds for her because, like I said, she's got some newly acquired skills. So that's kind of always been her weakness, and she's always had that power. So now the 2 skills combined, I'm really excited for her season.
Nicole, you worked and raced with these women for a long time. Katie Compton doesn't have a problem holding her head up in these kind of moments, does she? It seems like she can shake this kind of thing off, Am I right?
Yeah, I think so, but I think she's maybe shocked also, to see Meredith Miller ahead of her. And I think, she's only been beat a few times, right? So, yeah, this might be a little bit hard for her.
Go ahead, Cole.
Well, just seeing more, again, these are all rumors, and we'll see here very shortly is that Ben? Oh, excuse me. Sven Nys, I think, taking the Whole Shot Award. Sorry, but again, I was saying some more rumors coming in that the Sven Nys issue now may be a fine. It may be a fine and not a disqualification. So,
interesting.
So this is the fastest lap award. Excuse me. And we're in the hot seat just like you guys. We were waiting to see what happens here. I'm sure, like we said, the UCI officials, the USA Cycling officials.
Well, if he's disqualified from the race, he can't take he can't take any prize from it.
This is interesting. Yeah. So
I'm sure they're all on Twitter right now reading your opinions, but a very good point there, Nicole. So a roller coaster of emotions here. But I think if that's the case, if it's a fine, I think that makes a lot more sense.
I agree.
Fine him $100,000. He's got it.
They should take his prize money and give it to the Amy Dombrowski Foundation.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
I agree with that one. I like it. I like it.
And, you know, as we were talking off camera, I think, you know, the issue isn't whether or not he was disqualified. It was the fact that he did that on the first lap, and then they left him in the race for the remaining 55 minutes. If a guy's going to be disqualified, you can't let him stay in there and influence the race, and you certainly can't let him go suffer like that for another 50 minutes. So I think if that's the case, I do think that's the right thing to do. He didn't take an advantage. You know, he didn't win that race because he took a bottle. It was a simple infraction, and I think a fine makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think Nicole is too.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because it just takes the glory away from.
So that confirms.
There we go.
Right
Good. I'm glad to see
good.
this correction was made. I really am.
All right, so Jeremy Powers, again, huge ride for him, confirms that the decision he made to focus purely on cyclocross, at least at this race alone.
That skin suit, oh yeah, absolutely. That skin suit that he's wearing was
awesome.
In the air flying from London to Vegas 12 hours ago.
That's awesome.
You gotta love that.
It was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm going to say the best national championship kit that we've seen from America. Yeah.
No, props to Rafa for sure, and props to Jeremy. I know he has a lot of input on what those look like. And Lars van der Haar, another national champion. We heard Lars van der Haar is the most, like, I don't know how to say it, the most all-business 23-year-old I've ever met in my life.
He could use a little more Troy Wells in him.
I want him to smile. I really want him to smile. I don't think he's going to.
We did an interview with him. Check out BehindTheBarriers.tv in the next coming weeks. We did a long sit-down interview about his past and his entry to the sport. He comes from a gymnastics background, a judo background, a very regimented, athletic upbringing. And so for him, it's no coincidence that he's 23 years old and standing on the podium here at all these World Cups. And
he's still complaining to Powers about the beer being thrown on him. And Jeremy's like, what? They weren't my friends.
You know, and
I really
Americans.
Yeah.
I smell like it.
There it is, though, ladies and gentlemen. Your top three on the day. Your three fastest cyclocross racers in the world today. That's Jeremy Powers of the USA. Lars van der Haar riding for Giant Shimano this year. Number 2, the silver medal, and the gold medal, rightfully so. I think everybody agrees. I haven't seen anybody argue that on Twitter. Sven Nys, the man, the myth, the 2-time consecutive winner here in Cross Vegas on a Trek bicycle on U.S. soil. And Sven's a guy, we talked to him. It's not just about his racing right now. It's all about the future of the sport, the globalization of cyclocross. This guy is not going to take his millions and ride off into the sunset. We're going to see him around for a long time. There it is, Nicole. That's a smile.
Yep.
I think he
needed Elvis to bring it out.
And to speak to that interview with Lars, he was clearly pissed.
Sure.
You come across the line, you get beat, on the line as he did. It's easy to think of those two a-holes instead of the other 9,998 super passionate support. And I think even at this point, if not later tonight, every one of these guys is going to realize this is an incredible event.
I agree.
This is an incredible crowd.
Well, we're going to take a short break. We will be right back to wrap things up here from the 2014 Cross Vegas.
Don't go anywhere.
It happened once before. Now it's back for more. Bike-NATO 2, The Return. Tune in all September to witness an unstoppable onslaught of races from around the world. Oh, it was so close! Plus, Interbike 2014, the TV show. This is gonna be intense.
A gold medal right here!
Bike-NATO 2, The Return. All this month. Only on Universal Sports Network.
Dit is niet te geloven. Dit is niet te geloven. Knap werk van Klaas van Tornuit. Alle hens aan dek nu, want het is een demarrage. Jawel, Lars van der Haar. Pauls, die komt er langs nu. Man, man, man. Tom Meeuwsen, hij doet het hier. Daar kan ik door, waar kan ik door? Oh, serieuze thriller hier opnieuw. En Van der Poel is daar, hè. Dit is sport van hoog niveau.
All right, cyclocross fans, you guys still with us? That's a dumb question. Everybody's still with us. You can't go to bed after this.
They don't want to leave us.
I know. It's whatever.
Should we just keep going?
It's whatever time on the East Coast. Everybody is still up. So, guys, again, I don't know what's official and what's not, but what seems official now is Sven Nys obviously confirmed the winner. We just saw him on the podium. A 1,000 Swiss franc fine is what I'm hearing from Neil Rogers at Velo News, and I definitely trust that guy. So.
I actually flew over here with Neil today. He's a very reputable guy.
And it seems like the fair thing to do.
And you said you're going to cover the fine for Sven?
No.
Okay, I thought you did.
But I did see on Twitter that it was still cheaper than the bottle of water at the hotel room.
That's a good one.
And Dave Toll made a very good point that maybe he donates his prize money to the Amy D Foundation.
We wouldn't mind at all. I mean,
I think that would be a cool thing to do.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys, as we're wrapping things up, the last time that I ever saw Amy was right here at this race. She actually took off and went to Gloucester, I think, and raced on the East Coast. But the last time a lot of us saw her was here. So thoughts are definitely with her family, all of her friends, and the Amy D Foundation is doing really tremendous work in getting young women specifically on bikes and helping, kind of let some of these ladies do what Amy did. And, that was one thing Amy always struggled for was support. Nicole, you know this one well. What pro bike racer doesn't? But, I definitely want to send my, Amy's birthday was yesterday, actually, so thoughts out to her.
Nope, she is in everything we do.
Yeah.
All the time, especially here during cyclocross. So, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Not just you, not just the racers, but the sponsors that make this all possible. Stages Cycling, the makers of the finest power meters designed, engineered, and built right here in the USA in Boulder, Colorado. Those things are awesome. SRAM, the maker of the industry-leading bicycle components. They had, how many riders today on the podium in the top 10? Unbelievable. And, of course, Eco Products, if you're watching on BehindTheBarriers.tv. These guys have been a huge, huge supporter of cyclocross, the nation's leading brand of single-use food service containers. Products from renewable and recycled resources. And tonight especially, guys, use the hashtag #TweetForThePlanet for the numeral 4. Hashtag #TweetForThePlanet on Twitter. You guys are going to enter a chance to win some really cool stuff from Rafa, IceDot, WD-40, Scratch Labs, Park Tools, and Zilchables. Dave, closing words?
Hey, great job tonight, Cole, and great job by Brooke Watson. What's happening here across Vegas? If you've never been, if you're gonna come to Interbike, and it almost should be criminal to not come out here and enjoy across Vegas. So I hope we see you out here next year. And Nicole, I just want to say thank you. You were tremendous.
Thank you.
Nicole,
it was
any
really
final
fun
thoughts from you?
What's that?
Any final thoughts from you?
No, I really like being on this side of the production, so I really enjoyed it, and I was just happy for the opportunity, so thanks so much.
Yeah, and to echo that, guys, a enormous thank you from all of us here, not just in the commentary booth, but from all of Behind the Barriers TV, from Jeff Greenwood and his crew here, putting on the best live coverages in the service, in the business, excuse me. It's just an unbelievable event. Cross Vegas is second to none. Go for it.
Emily Wells.
Emily Wells. Hands
what a human
down.
being. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, and really, that's, again, it's an endless amount of thanks here. There's a huge crew. It's not just, a lot of people, they'll tweet at us and say, oh, the feed's this or that. There's a huge crew of people. We just get the honor of hanging out on the microphone. So check us out, guys, BehindTheBarriers.tv. The rest of the season, we're going to have cool coverage coming from a bunch of different races, a bunch of cool different interviews. My name's Colt McElwain. You guys can check me out on ColtTrainingsystems.com. I got to throw that little plug in there if you're looking for a coach. KMC chains as well.
Providence coming up.
And that's,
Yeah, can't wait for that. I know that if you enjoyed this coverage, you can expect the same world-class coverage coming from what is that, guys, 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, a couple weeks, and you guys are going to be able to watch that live right here again on BehindTheBarriers.tv. So don't miss us for that. For Dave Toll, for Nicole Duke, my name's Cole McElwain. I love the sport of cyclocross. I love you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.